As we see, it looks like another vehicle blew up in the corner. Actually, it looks like it may be the exact same vehicle that's been brewing up for quite some time. We can see that another BMP is burning over there to the side, but the guy who's operating this camera, he's doing a little bit of a herky-jerky right now, so it's really hard for us to see, but we can see that the T-72B3 is right there. It appears to still be in pretty decent condition, but man, like the camera work's a little rough here. Yeah, that's a BMP2. So they've gotten two BMP2s. They're burning, and it looks like the rest of the vehicles have been abandoned. The hatches are open, and the crew is nowhere to be seen. So, once again, more vehicles claimed by the Ukrainians. Hopefully they can go and mop up the rest of these or capture them, one or the other. But nonetheless, incredibly good news to come out of yesterday. We're now moving on to the next bit of location unknown news, where we can see a Russian convoy being targeted. And this was a massive convoy. Look at that. And they're very closely spaced. A perfect target for some close air support. Well, not really close air support, but some air support in general. So you can see here they're just lining it up, I assume. I can't really see the vehicles in this camera, but we can see some burning. Actually, multiple burning. It looks like maybe about 2 or 3. The camera work is a little shaky. And so we can just see that they're taking their time, doing a little bit of a herky-jerky again. But it looks like most of the vehicles have been destroyed. And in fact, it looks like this BMP2, wait, this T-72, I'm assuming, maybe a T-64, I'm not really sure. But it looks like it is trying to move around a little bit, but I don't think a little shimmy is going to save it from this herky-jerky drone that's like either calling in artillery or dropping munitions on these vehicles. As we can see, one of the vehicles has been hit directly and is burning. It looks like the crew may have abandoned the other BMP-2s around it. As we can look back on down the road, it looks like the rest of the convoy is in complete disarray, and they're trying to figure out what's going on as this Ukrainian crew is busting out laughing as they're just flooring this convoy. Anyways, that's the end of that video. We're now going to move on to the next bit of location unknown news, where we can see a Ukrainian doing a little bit of fancy footwork and also using an igloo at the same time. It was it's a pretty neat video. This guy dances. Like, check this guy out. Look at him. I don't know if he shot down the plane that he was aiming this igloo at, but still, this was a good video. I liked it. Also, by the way, when did they call Michael Bay into this war? Not to like get too much into the jokes or anything, but now that explosion is the most fiery explosion I've seen in a war. I mean, that's like that's very. I wonder what that hit. I don't think it hit anything in terms of houses or anything. It may have hit some kind of gas tank. I'm not really sure because that explosion is something. I mean, like that's really. I mean, like, we haven't seen a lot of explosions like that in the war, unless if it's some kind of armored vehicle exploding. And then even at that, it doesn't look like that. So, anyways, I'm gonna let the video continue.
All right, I'm just going to stop it right there and say welcome everybody who is watching. Welcome to the stream. Today's agenda, this evening's agenda, includes this Ukraine news summary. I've been watching this the Enforcer's channel for a while, and he's really got some pretty decent. He has some extremely helpful daily roundups, and we're going to watch this for a while, and then we're going to get into some comedy, the usual satire and ridiculing of Christianity, and specifically, of course, Christianity's leader, the leader of Christianity in the free world, who is known as Darth Dawkins. So let's get back to the schedule, and enjoy the show, everybody. Please feel free to put your 2 cents into the chat. I do have a Discord open, and I will post the link in a bit. So here you go.
the tree line. We can see that one of the rockets, it looks like one of the rockets took a really shallow angle and actually kind of flew through the trees right here. You see that? It's very interesting. I can't tell if those are infantry in the trees or if that's just particulates from the explosion that have now landed in the tree line and they're glowing hot. So we see, I think they hit something right there because it looks like it keeps on exploding. It's a much brighter burn than the rest of the pot marks around from the missile hits. I don't know what is in that little burning ember right there, but we just saw something fly out of it. So maybe it's an ammunition cook-off. I can't really tell. Now we see something else flying out of it. I don't know what that is, but it's a very interesting video nonetheless, and it does show that the Ukrainians have been doing an incredibly good job defending their country over the past 2 days of this war. So we're now going to move on towards the Kharkiv area and the northern Donbass, but before we do, we're going to take a quick pause. The coffee's hitting me different tonight. Sorry about that, y'all. But we're going to be taking a quick pause to answer 3 to 5 questions from the chat. And so, what do we got, Matthew?
So, good evening, everyone. It's Enforcer Matt with the questions. First up tonight, we have a $100 donation from Red JC. I think that's his first donation ever, and we thank you very much for the very generous donation. That is just very generous of you.
Yeah, that really is. I've got to thank you so much, man, because that means a lot to us here at this channel. And I got to say, I got to thank you once again because that helps us to fix the screw up we made with the first video and go and do it again. We actually didn't really, well, actually, yeah, we put a lot on credit to try and run that thing, but I thank you so much for the support. That will help us to try and pump out new videos and also help to support and just run the channel in general. So I thank you so much. And if that is your first donation, thank you once again. It's usually a recurring habit for people who do support the channel to continue supporting, and so it's very rare that we see someone new step up and support the channel. So I gotta thank you so much for that. That's a huge donation. And also, we would like to make a special note. Let me make sure I get the name right because I just remembered this, and I want to tell him thanks because I know he's watching. But let me go through and check this real quick. I want to thank Bob, who sent an email the other day and actually sent in $500 of support for this channel. I gotta say, I gotta thank you so much. It flipped me out on the day that it happened. It was Monday of all days, and so I was like, oh my god. I was like, wow, we got $500 today, and that's going to help us run the channel even more. And we started talking about, oh, you know, we can do this in the video and that in the video and all this sort of stuff. So I got to thank Bob so much again for the huge support. He actually offered to send us a drone, and you know, while the drone's nice, we already have one. So, but I thank him so much because that was huge support, and we're grateful for any level of support from anyone that we get because any amount of support helps us to run the channel, and it helps us to think into the future. And so I thank y'all so much, both Bob and Red. It means a lot to both of us. And so that we're going to move on to the next question.
And next up, we have a chat from Chris Mack, who puts in a donation of $68. He says, good evening and Slava Ukraine. I'm celebrating my birthday today. Thank you again for enriching and educating all Enforcer and mods.
Well, I thank you so much for the support. A happy birthday, by the way. And I'm glad that you really do enjoy the channel. I'm glad that a lot of people do. It's something that we put a lot of effort into. It takes about like 7 hours to create the stream and run it nightly. So it's a huge commitment, especially for 6 days a week. And back in the day when I did it like 7 days a week without break, that was tough. But I'm so thankful that everyone supports the channel, and I got to thank you once again. I hope you have a happy birthday and that you just have a great time. And I hope this is like the cherry on top for the day. So I thank you once again. And with that, we're going to move on to 2 more questions from the chat, and we're going to move on to the Kharkiv North Donbass news.
And just real quick, Red JC put in another $100 donation. Thank you again. That's very generous of you.
Thank you so much. I don't know what made you do that one, But I thank you so much. That's insane. Thank you once again. It means I'm gonna go through the same spiel. You know what it means to me. It means a whole load. I thank you so much, man. It like, man, I don't know why y'all like support the channel so much, but I'm so glad y'all do because it helps me take a little bit of a load off and wondering what's going, like, where's the channel going and stuff, because I know it's going to go in the right direction with fans like y'all. And so I thank y'all so much. It means a lot to me once again, and thank you so much for it. And with that, we're going to move on to two more super chats and well, two more questions from the chat in super chats. And also to everyone who isn't sending in super chats, we do answer about like 3 questions from the normal live chat, the people who aren't sending in super chats nightly. So if you do ask a question, hang out, and maybe at the end of the stream we will that will be one of the questions that's answered. And so with that, we're going to move on to 2 more questions.
And next up, we have a chat from Praise Adonai, who puts in a $20 donation and says, I'm learning a lot from your news reviews. Keep up the good work. Is Ukraine getting the resupply of arms they need to win? Losing Donbass is a given, I believe.
I think now a lot of people always say that the Russians are going to regroup and they're really going to floor them. You know, them being the Ukrainians. But the thing is that we're seeing some 30-mile long convoy now somewhere in the southeast. I haven't really looked into it much because it's like I haven't really gotten a lot of confirmed evidence about it. There's no satellite pictures of this one, and so I'm like, maybe it's true, maybe it's not. But you got to remember that they had a 40-mile long convoy in the Kyiv area, and that thing, while everyone was sitting there saying, "Oh, give them a minute," they're just sitting there waiting. You know, like it's like Patrick Star on SpongeBob. Like he was like, "Oh, come on, man," you know, like the stone's gonna move, and it didn't. It in fact killed the entire northern front. It soaked up loads of supplies that the front line actually needed just to keep that thing existing and alive. And at the end of it all, they just had to move it out, and it pretty much sent the northern front into an irreparable state, and the Russians just began to lose after that, and they never recovered all the way till the day that they actually withdrew entirely from the northern and northeastern fronts. So I don't think that it's definite that the Russians will win here in the Donbass area, because we have gotten some news today here at Severodonetsk, and some of y'all who are really attentive may have noticed that the map has changed. And just to touch on this news a little bit, we'll touch on it in more detail later on, but the Ukrainians have actually managed to counterattack out of Severodonetsk and reached Novo Aidar, which is actually let me make sure with a ruler, it's some 20 miles away from Severodonetsk, which the Russians were about right here just 2 days ago when the last stream aired. So they've made about 10 miles of progress a day, and they're about to reach the Ukrainian border at that rate, although there's no major roadway heading that way. They'd have to head up the H21 north or south and then take another road, for example, this T1309 or the P07, to then reach the easternmost border there in that area around the Luhansk region. But nonetheless, that is significant progress in the form of a counterattack. And so that does let us know that while the Russians are supposedly preparing for a new offensive, which, you know, is being confirmed by satellite imagery right now, it's showing that they really don't have that kind of muster anymore to try and do something like that. So I think, thank you very much for the support, but I don't think the situation in the Donbass is entirely lost yet, because the Ukrainians showed us that even in Kyiv, well, not me, I never thought that, but where a lot of people, especially the mainstream news, thought that the Russians would regroup and take the city in a few days. That's not the case most of the time. But then again, that's entirely my opinion. It's based off of the precedent that's already been laid out in this war, but you know, although this is a tough statement to make, maybe the Russians have learned a lesson, and their success in the Donbass will be better than what they did in the northern front. So I thank you very much for the support. I hope that addresses the statement in a way. And so with that, we're going to move on to the last question from the chat for now, and then we're going to move on to the Kharkiv and Donbass news.
And it looks like the viewers are going all out tonight. We have another viewer, Mike Smith, putting in another $100 donation, and he says, Jameson break.
Oh my lord! I don't know what Jameson break. Let me pull that up real quick. Jameson break. I'm sorry if this is something I should know. I don't know what it means. I don't know what it means. I can't find anything about a Jameson break on Google. I don't know what that means, but I thank you so much, Mike. You've been here and supported the channel before, and
All right, I think we're going to take a break from this for now.
on Google. I don't know what that means, but I
hold
thank
on
you
a
so
second,
much,
guys.
Mike. You've been here and supported the channel before, and
Let me say that we're just switching.
it means a lot to us that everyone comes out and supports the channel. And tonight, it seems like
Well, this guy's going on about his channel being supported without really getting into the news that much. So I'm going to do a little switcheroo as soon as I can, of course, because I'm running slow. So give me one momentito, please. Just got to stop the guy from running, kick it out of my stream. Like that. Oh, I've got to undeafen myself, of course, so that everybody can hear me. And I'd like to welcome Alpha and Ex Nihilo. Xbox Fian, how are you doing? I haven't seen you in half a decade or more.
Yeah, I had to take a break there for a while.
Oh, really? Did our evidence overwhelm you that much?
Yeah, it blew my mind.
Good to see that.
Too much stress, all that.
Wasn't it? Well, weren't those fun days?
Oh yeah. I wish I was telling the guy in your chat. I wish I had a trolled more.
You did. You trolled
Now
plenty.
Yeah, I did. People didn't recognize that I was trolling a lot of the time.
Yeah. That's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of trolling.
I would keep them going for hours and hours and hours.
Right. Yeah, I remember. That was a beautiful days. We'd literally be on these hangouts, not streaming to the world, but just hanging out in this massive sort of group that we had, where there were multiple rooms going, and everybody would have people would have their own room, and other people would switch between rooms. It was a great little time.
Yeah, I wish they still had that, but it seems like it's harder to find people now. But I'm trying to get back into it, and I found a handful of the G+ people that we used to hang around with.
Where'd you find them, on Discord?
Yeah, on Discord. I messed around with Clubhouse a little bit, but
I haven't made the Clubhouse yet.
If I use Clubhouse, it's going to take a little bit of getting used to using it. It's for me. It looks complicated.
Oh, does it? I haven't logged on there. I haven't looked at it yet. I don't really plan to, because this platform is just fine. I like it.
Yeah, I think this is fine too. Especially once you get settled and find servers that people are talking and messing around and
Yeah. That's kind of where I'm trying to take this server, but it's a long slog, and I have time.
right. Well, yours isn't the only one. One of the busier servers that used to be one of the busiest servers it's slow. I no one's talked in there unless I've started a conversation in there
Mm-hmm.
in at least the past week.
Well, the nice thing about it is that the and nobody has to be in the room in order for anybody to come into the room and start up conversation.
Right.
Right. So that's the nice thing about it with Google, with Meet or Hangouts or whatever. There always had to be somebody to start the room.
Right.
Whereas this way, the room's kind of always just there. Hi, Randolph.
Yeah.
Welcome, sir.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, Randall.
You guys met?
We just in the chat there. I'm not sure what it used to go by.
I... Go ahead, Randolph.
I've always used my real name. On Google Plus, I ran a bunch of troll accounts as well, but I had my real name there as well.
I don't remember you from Google Plus.
I wasn't very active under my real name.
Uh-huh. What were your troll names, if that's allowed?
I can't say most of them. There were a couple that I can talk about. There's some serious death threats that some of them earned, and one got a fatwa, so with $1 million hit. So nope, that's out. But there's one called Popcorn, which went around and used purposely designed broken English to mess around with quantum physics conversations, and it was a nice troll. I had a lot of fun with that. Boy, that was challenging.
I remember Popcorn. Yeah.
You remember the goofy picture, right?
Yeah.
I don't remember Popcorn.
Yeah, Popcorn got around. People would sometimes summon Popcorn by tagging Popcorn, and Popcorn would post a different picture of Popcorn each time.
Oh. Was it a popcorn-related picture, or
Oh yeah.
different colored popcorn, or just different picture of
Yeah,
popcorn?
people were trying to guess where this popcorn person was from, and they thought it was from one of the Balkan countries, and from the Balkans somewhere, and because of the way the broken English was.
Uh-huh.
I pulled it off well, but what I would do is I would go into like the physics communities, and they call them communities on Google Plus, and I'd look for a conversation where some people were having it look like a disagreement, because sometimes even physicists will disagree about stuff, right?
Sure.
And then I'd look up research on both their sides, and then I'd try to put it together in one kind of perspective that seems to be kind of sharing between the two of them.
Yeah.
And that was hard because I don't have a background in physics. It was really, really challenging, and it took me quite a lot of researching to do to figure out what to write. And then I'd write it in broken English, and like severely broken. And they'd be trying to figure out what was written, and they were saying, "Oh, this is a good point." And I know they're pulling out of it the nuggets from Scientific American articles and other magazines that are credible, that I had put through in broken English. So they a bunch of them thought I was a physics major as well. It was hilarious.
Yeah, I know. Me and Sidney would mess with people, and I would mess with people a lot. I'd either give them enough rope to hang themselves, or just straight, like Sidney would be trolling them, and I would be fighting to keep them from leaving the room.
Your volume is quite low, by the way.
Yours is on your end. Yours sounds extremely high to me.
Oh, sorry. I'll see about my volume.
I'll turn mine up a little bit because mine is turned down a little bit.
How's that? Is this better?
Yeah, that's better.
Yeah, if I come into a stream, my volume's off, let me know right away. I'll fix it right away.
Okay.
Hello, Alpha K9.
Hello, Alpha.
Alpha K9 1.
Alpha K9 1.
Randolph!
How are you?
Doing really good. How are you? Is my
Pretty good. We're reminiscing over
Area?
fun times on Google Plus, and so I think that's really cool. You remember Popcorn. I'm just so delighted. You've made my day. I hope you had good memories of popcorn.
Yeah, I don't remember anything like specific, but I remembered the name. I remember the picture. So I remember the account.
Yeah, some people thought it was a bit of a creepy smile on the side of the popcorn container. I've still got the picture. I'll see if I can share it here. Yeah, so some of these ones I don't mind saying, but most of them I'll never say. But I might write a book on this trolling experience one day.
Oh
Yeah,
man, I'd love to read a book like that.
That'd be
that's
fun.
what. There was a few trolls out there that either were blatantly a troll, like Stizor. I know you remember Stizor.
Yeah,
No.
the guy from England.
I don't remember that one.
He was a scouse.
Yeah.
It's on fucking Axiom. He would constantly troll. There was no, and fuck was every other word.
Yeah.
And I think he was putting on an act.
He's
to
the
fuck
one who
with
said
people.
he had leg problems all the time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. He had blood clots all the time.
Yeah. So who knows
So
what to believe?
I haven't heard from him since I've been gone. I have him on my Skype still, but I haven't signed into my Skype though in a while.
I just
Wow.
posted the picture of popcorn under the Prove Me Wrong channel. Is that the one you remember? Xbox? That's the one you remember?
Yeah.
That was me. Now you know I'm not pulling your leg.
That's hilarious.
Oh, I had so much fun with the troll accounts. A lot of them were kind of short-lived too, but some of them were ongoing. And holy cow, some of the big communities, they got in some massive fights too.
Yes, yes, indeed.
G Plus hadn't exploded and broke itself. I'm betting it would still be going. I know there's a handful of people that I know still use Google as their main platform, and then stream it to YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
But,
Yeah, you're talking about Google Meet. I think they moved it from Hangouts to Meet.
That's right.
Yeah, and that's quite a good system. They it's good because you can put closed captions on it on the fly, and none of the others seem to offer that. Which is nice. But what's also interesting about Google Plus is why it failed. Why it got shut down is because I found out internal politics at Google. The person who was heading up, the person heading up the Google Plus department was one of those step on everybody's toes types, and so he got rejected by a lot of other departments. The vision was to have a unified Google Plus account for all Google services, and so that went by the wayside. And the guy turned out being so strongly disliked by people that they decided not to try again with a new manager. They just kind of
one person brought down the whole community.
yeah.
And Google Plus, the system with communities was really well designed. Like
I thought so.
there are shortcomings as well. Every system has it, but it beat the pants off of Facebook. It was a clean and easy to use interface, and didn't slow down your computer like Facebook did, and still does. And I think that with photography communities there that had over 2 million users in them, posting pictures constantly, it's like a nonstop stream of pictures floating up. I thought they had real potential to rival Facebook.
Right. And they could have, if they had bought YouTube, you would have been able to expand out into the video market like that.
Yeah, well, they did integrate some Google Plus stuff with the YouTube video comments section, and for some reason, some people got upset about it. Most people didn't seem to mind.
Yeah, I don't know what happened with that.
See, as somebody who has a YouTube channel, more people are commenting. I think this is great.
I knew one G Plus super user that knew. I guess someone that was on the team higher up. And so I knew when the date was coming and when all the stuff was fixing to be torn down, but she had the power. Just that Sidney might remember, or you might remember. It was Ermine. I can't remember.
I
the
remember
last name,
Ermine.
but
She's still on Facebook.
yeah, she's a super user. Like she had the power to kick or ban people.
Yes, I remember that.
and
I remember
even
that.
out of their own rooms. Like
Yeah, she had God mode.
yep.
And she left. I actually tried to get her to come back, and she said no. She'll never come back to the toxicity.
Yeah, I remember there was some big fight or brawl or she got into with some people or something like.
So she probably
No,
knows
not,
about the internal politics at Google that led to it getting shut down then.
More than likely.
Yeah, that's what I was
Probably better
thinking.
chance than any one of us.
Oh yeah, she'll have a lot more detail on it than I've been able to uncover for sure.
Yeah,
And I came across some blogs. I came across some blogs by some ex Google Plus employees who wrote about this problem as well.
Yeah, and they just let it fall apart too. They stopped even trying to fix any of the errors and quirks
And it didn't have very many. It was actually pretty well done.
yeah. I remember there was one fatal flaw that they never fixed, that you had a hangout. What was that flaw? Someone could take over your room.
You're talking Google Hangouts,
I
so
think
you're not talking Google Plus.
everybody could kick everybody or something like that. There was no moderation. There was no ownership at the end.
So you're talking about Google Hangouts, not Google Plus here.
Google Hangouts, yeah.
Okay, yeah, they're very different things.
Google Plus is a suite. I think.
Google Plus was a social network.
Yes.
Right. Right.
Yeah, Google
They
Hangouts
were
was just a module in Google Plus.
Right. We would use G Plus to talk back and forth and to set the Hangouts up and
Yeah.
and all that.
They had some cross integration stuff going, and they're trying to do that with all their services, which was a good plan.
Yeah. Sign into one account. It's still the way they have it set up now. You just sign into one and you're signed into YouTube and everything else. And
I think they held off on it for quite a while before doing that again because they wanted people to forget the whole thing.
yeah, and Google Plus or the Hangouts started out as a business thing anyway. It didn't start out as a thing for people to come and chillax and or have debates on or anything like that. It was set up more like, or it was supposed to be set up more like Skype meetings you have with your business. And Google Hangouts just gave you a taste of it so that you could buy the service. I don't know how many people actually bought the service because it obviously fell apart. But
I don't think too
I
many.
know at least one person that had paid for the service. You can have like 12 or 18 people in the room instead of the normal 10 or 8, however many it was. You had a whole panel full of options.
Yeah, I think I remember there were a few people who paid for it. So, yeah, there were some people. There was a lot of fighting over who controls communities, though. That was happening quite a bit with quite a few of them.
And I'm sure that wasn't just tied to the great debate stuff either.
No, a couple of my troll accounts. Well, one of them encountered McRae in that, but he wasn't such a jerk back then, so nothing really got exciting there.
Yeah, when he first started out, I've heard stories just in this past week, and
Yep.
he wanted to talk to me this weekend, but for some reason we missed each other.
Why would you want to talk? Why would
Talking
you
about
want to talk
Steve
with him?
McRae?
Yeah.
I want to hear.
I have a
I wanna
story
hear
about
his-
Steve McRae.
I want to hear his side of what went on. I'm not going to take his side from what I've heard, but I just want to hear how he sees it in his own head.
He's done videos on it. I won't have anything to do with him. We were going to have a debate on atheism, and then he engaged publicly in sexual harassment with David Silverman, and then I told him, "Hey, this is wrong. You guys, both of you, you can't do this. This is unacceptable." And so I objected harshly to it. And David Silverman was actually he handled that well and decided to eventually remove that video. Steve, on the other hand, had a big Twitter tantrum, and I told him I canceled the debate because of that. I don't want anything to do with it, and he's been fuming angry at me ever since.
Yeah,
It's just, and then he's and his supporters.
Other celebrities, quote unquote, that he's kind of said bad things about, and that
Yeah, Matt Dillahunty, Aaron Ra, Armin Navabi, they all block him. I block him now too.
there's a hangout somewhere where I spoke with David Silverman. I thought he was a pretty nice guy.
He was. He's gone on a path of I think that would probably be best if he had chosen a different path, I'll say. That's about as far as I'll go with it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, he's been through a lot, and but yeah, with McRae, after I had called him out for that, 5 days later he was served with a restraining order for sexual harassment. So, I don't normally say this about people I've blocked, but with him, I think it's a wise move to steer clear of him because most of the time it doesn't end well for people. Is what I notice.
Well, that and I heard his partner. There was beef between him and his partner.
Which one? He's had that multiple times now.
Yeah, I have no idea. That's
Yeah, so there's the most recent one. The most recent one was a Canadian woman who started falsely accusing me of running a scam, and then when I confronted her and recommended she contact the RCMP, our federal police here about it, her response was that the RCMP doesn't deal with fraud, doesn't investigate fraud, which is not true.
Bullshit.
Yeah, right away. See, Sidney's Canadian. He knows the police investigate fraud. That's their job here, and they will investigate it. And so she's just basically coming up with every excuse she can to not do that. When she was criticizing the Canadian atheists, one of the things she said was when she was reading one of the pages where we talk about the Canadian Constitution and our rights and equality and stuff. She laughed. She scoffed at it and said, Canada doesn't have a constitution. Which is, Sidney, you probably remember starting to learn about that in grade 3 here.
The Canadian Constitution?
Yeah.
I remember when it was repatriated from Britain. It became our Canadian Constitution.
Yeah. So, but this is taught in elementary school starting from grade 3 here.
Yep.
And then she goes on to talk about the charter, which we're covering, which is in our Constitution.
She sounds like somebody who's never read the Constitution.
Yes, there's an unfortunate nickname people have for her, 62 IQ, which she seems quite proud of when she jokes about it. And I don't know. I don't think that she's stupid. A lot of people, even though some people are making fun of her that way, I just think that she's angry.
I think the chair that I'm sitting on has a higher IQ than 62.
Oh boy.
Not that there's anything wrong with having a low IQ. I'm just saying.
So she got a few other people to basically say the same things in their videos, and so it's just like whatever.
Cheshire Vic, that's the one who was supporting. John Rapp says Cheshire Vic. Wasn't she supporting Steve all the way through, and now she hates him, or they hate each other, or something?
Yeah, they had some kind of falling out. I don't know all the details because I don't follow it closely.
Because she was supporting him when he was supporting that pedophile guy. that real charlatan that he was, who was convicted of some child sexual
Holy,
assault on children.
holy cow!
Remember that?
I had no idea he's supporting a pedophile. That's
Oh yeah.
news to me.
Oh yes, that's Steve McCree for you.
I know he had a convicted rapist on his channel, and then he was saying that he saw the evidence, and that guy's
Oh, was
not.
it a rapist, not a pedophile? Okay, well, I'm sorry, but
No, no, what? No. You're telling me about a pedophile. I'm telling you about an incident that I know of, rapist.
oh, okay, maybe I'm getting them mixed up.
No. They're quite different things. If they're child molester, if he's supporting just a pedophile or a child molester.
Maybe it's just the rapist. I'm not quite sure, to be honest. But
So,
there was
like,
definitely there was
well-
definitely a person who he was supporting in the charge against him, which had to do with sexual assault. Let's leave it at that.
So, okay. Well, you did say pedophile, which means that was I guess you were meaning an assault against
Sexual
children.
assault. Well, sexual assault on children or women or anyone is sexual assault, no matter what you call it.
Yeah. But I mean, you mentioned pedophile, so that means children were involved, which
Yeah.
I think means it's a different incident than the one I'm thinking of.
Okay. Well, maybe I'm wrong
Which
about.
wouldn't, he supported the rapist once, who was impersonating. He was convicted for impersonating a police officer.
Yeah, that's the guy. That's the guy.
Okay, so maybe I don't know if that guy. I don't think he got charged with raping children, but he was.
No, but he definitely got charged with impersonating a policeman, and
No, there's a separate one that's got.
and I'm pretty
Or
sure
I've-
he's the one who was the rapist
I've
or
heard it.
something. There was a sexual assault somewhere.
I know the
was-
guy's name. It's Earl David Warden.
That's the guy. Yes, that's.
You ever watch Dragon Ball again?
He's got a huge problem with the police and authority, and so he would dress up as a police officer,
Yeah.
and he would find a woman driving alone at nighttime, then pull her over, and then put her in cuffs in the back of his car and drive in the middle of nowhere, and then rape her again with his gun, and sometimes just dump her on the street, leaving the cuffs on.
Can you hear me?
So it's hard to hear you. Can't quite make out what you're saying.
Quiet?
Yeah, no, your audio is not very. It's kind of muted or muffled or something.
So what bothered me about that was when Steve said that, well, first of all, supporting this guy, but I mean, there's one thing that stood out to me was that he said that he's seen the evidence and he can tell that Warden is actually innocent.
I remember that.
And so people want to see the evidence, and Steve says he can't show it. Everyone just has to trust him.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, secret evidence? No thanks. And the reason I still talk about this stuff from time to time is because Steve's supporters or his sock puppets or both contact me from time to time and harass me. And so...
Steve's still
okay.
around?
Sorry?
He's still around, Steve? I never see him around. I never see him.
Well,
on-
lately, I noticed that since the big kerfuffle with Cheshire Vic,
Yeah.
he's that stopped. Quite sharply stopped, and they stopped contacting me, all those sock puppets and trolls and stuff. And then lately I've had a few contacts, but it's not been to the level it was before.
You know who's been trolling me lately? He trolled me today. Is EA Dawa. You know EA Dawa?
He's not trolling you. I'll be right back.
He's not. Oh, you know something about EA Dawa?
I think I know who he is. That's
Oh yeah, that's Justin. It's
Yeah. No, he's
empathetic.
He's
Whatever.
he's not an atheist anymore. He
He's a
converted to
Muslim.
Islam, and he is looking for serious dialogue with people.
Well, we've already had our little serious dialogue, and he trolled me then. I was trying to have a serious dialogue, but he trolled me then, and then he sent me some link on Messenger, which I'm not going to open up because it's just a link, a TikTok link. So he's trolling me again. But if he likes to come in and explain himself, come on, Justin, get in here, sir, please. You are invited.
He does get on these. I saw him on a publicly accessible stream recently. It was like it's a public stream that they've got a StreamYard account set up where you can go in and join them right on their video and talk with them. Him and a panel of 3 other Muslims all together. And so there are people going in there, including a few friends of mine who've been in there. I've had one formal debate with a Muslim. That was Nadir Ahmed in December 2021. That was interesting, and like he said things like, "Is slavery under Islam is better than freedom?" Near the end. So it was not what I was expecting, but it was a nice guy to chat with. I found.
What's the conclusion? Slavery under Islam is better than freedom?
That's what my interlocutor said in that debate. Yeah.
How callous of a human being do you have to be to hold that view? How unemotional, how insensitive do you actually have to be to hold fast to that view?
Yeah.
That's scary. That is fucking scary. And then there's what, a couple of billion?
Sure, it's big like Christianity, right? So it's comparable numbers.
And they're both scary.
I have to go for dinner in a few minutes here, but I wanted to pop in and say hi. One of our friends has been asking me when I'm going to be in next on a stream with you. So.
Oh, really? So this is your token. I'm being on a stream with Sidney Winston.
No, I just want to join in and chat. I just didn't know dinner was ready. So.
All right. Well, come back later then, if you like.
Yeah, you're going to be on for a while, are you?
Oh, yeah, it seems to be.
Yeah,
that's my plan anyway. That's my plan.
I'll probably be an hour or so at least, but it's great to see you too, Alpha K91, and we've talked many times. And then Xbox Fiend, pleasure talking with you as well.
Yeah, it's good to see Xbox. Hey, how's your audio, Xbox? See you later, Randolph.
Take care. Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Let's check. Let's check the audio of Xbox. Okay, we're all ears, Xbox. I'm hearing nothing.
I'm hearing nothing as well.
All right. Oops. I almost ripped the headphones out of my head. Alpha, how are you doing this evening? Have you had your dinner? I haven't.
Oh yeah, big fat.
Oh yeah, you told me you had your big steak.
I didn't eat the whole. It was. I cut the thing in half. Probably.
Somehow you're roboting. Is it me? All right, let's do some sound checks. I need to.
No, you tell me.
Oh, there we go. That's better.
I think we were trying to work out the audio problem earlier.
No, it's good now. We just can't hear Xbox.
No. All I can see are purple glowing Hello Kitty eyes.
Yeah, that's kind
Hello,
of.
Kitty.
He's had that, not that particular logo, but that theme ever since the beginning.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But I have a memory of Steve McRae, which has been lodged in a particular brain cell, obviously for years and years and years and years, ever since the beginning of Google Hangouts. So we're in a Google Hangout, and I've always been a hard, strong atheist. All gods are imaginary, prove me wrong. That's kind of where I've always sat. That's my position. And one day we were in a Google Hangout, and Steve was there, and I was mentioning something like, Christianity and Mormonism and Jesus, and Jesus thought he was God, and Joseph Smith thought he was God, and he's all these fake prophets. And Steve McRae turned around and he said to me, "I'm not so sure about uh, Joseph Smith." And I said to him, "Hold on a second, you think Joseph Smith was a real prophet?" And he never ever answered me. And to this day, I'm waiting for his view on Joseph Smith, because I believe that he was brought up a Mormon, and he's been indoctrinated in a some way or another about Joseph Smith being a real prophet, because he challenged me on that.
No way.
Yes, he did. So Steve McRae, I would like you to come in and prove me wrong, or agree with me that all gods are imaginary, including Joseph Smith.
Do you know the history behind that man?
I do. He's not a nice man.
He's not an honest.
No, he's a Darth
He
Dawkins of
started
1850.
started off as a water well dowser. Somebody waves a forked pointy stick around and says, "Dig here." Dip the stick down.
He was a con man. He was a very smart, well-read con man.
Yes, but he started off with water well because he had a few hits, and those people were particularly vocal that he was able to run that one for a while.
The story I heard is that when he was a child, he was rather sickly and stayed home a lot. And because he stayed home a lot, he had access to all these books. He read like the Bibles, and he read, I guess, some science or some gobbledygook, alchemy and whatnot, and he absorbed it all. He probably had one of these retentive memories, where you read something and you never forget it. I'm not like that. When he sort of grew up, and they grew up very poor, so conning was, if you can get away with it when you're poor, you sort of lean towards that way of living. And he seemed to be very good at it. His family was poor, and and the con man came out and never left, and he was very good at what he did. And he managed to convince certain people with a lot of money or prestige, that what he did was, or was going to be great. And he was just a criminal, really. And we have Utah as a result. Thank you, Joseph Smith. All right, let's test your mic, Xbox. I heard something, but no, I see nothing or hear nothing.
Just little blips and flicks, and I'm trying to stay muted right now because there's some sort of wildlife outside, and both of the dogs are on.
Oh, really?
Yes, I get these little explosive large prey barks.
Oh,
Distinctive.
wow.
It's not,
So what?
they're not like, oh, they're out there.
So is it just to scare the wildlife away that the dogs do that, or do they just want to go out and kill them?
No. As far as I know, most evolutionary function is for communicating specifically with humans. So, like, right now, my little min pin is like looking out the window, and he's completely frozen. He's cocked and locked, and he's growling. He's not moving a muscle. He's just absolutely locked and growling.
Yeah.
So, maybe if I go out there with my flashlight, I will encounter a fucking blackbird. Wouldn't be surprised.
Well, why not just go away on its own?
Yeah, if I want to go out there and chuck a rock at it.
No, don't abuse the wildlife. Chuck a rock at it. Chuck
I wouldn't really be trying to harm the bear. He just hates it. So go, oh, no, move on now. There are people here. We don't want you around. Go down into the canyon alone.
That's right. Tell him it's you're in the social room now. There's etiquette. There's even doggy etiquette.
Can you hear him growling?
No.
He's just. The whole end of my bed is vibrating. There's definitely something, though.
Are you desperately curious to find out what it is, though?
I suppose I could go out there and look. Now you can, maybe you can.
No, I heard him. Yeah.
He's making these little yippers. This is the men pimp saying there's something big out there, and the bigger dogs, please let me out.
What do you do?
Well, don't know. Tend to avoid trouble, but I have a feeling that if I don't go out there and check things out, I'm going to have a paranoid, vibrating, growling men pimp. So.
We keep on losing Xbox.
Well, he's trying very hard to tune in and participate.
Well, I see he's in there. Yeah. I know he's trying. But keep on trying until we figure it out.
All right, Damon. Let's take a look here. I've got my powerful flashlight. You are pointing like a fucking hunting dog. Can you hear him now?
Yeah,
What is it, Damon?
Yeah. I hear him.
Tell me what it is. Show me. Point. What's out there? Huh?
Ooh. There's something out there.
Well, he's telling me. Large animal.
Large animal? No.
Big critter.
I think you should gather up a posse and chase him down.
Yeah, I off all my big males. Frankly. Fortunately, so all I've got is this little guy.
Yeah.
And me and my bullwhip.
All right. Well, you do that, and I'm going to go and recognize the chat. Say hello to everybody who's dropped in. X Nihilo, that's you, Xbox, and Randolph Richardson, who's already been in. John Rapp, Algorithm. Nice to see you guys. I hope you're still watching. Quasar. What are you doing outside the Discord room, Quasar? Cafe, nice to see you. Let me scroll down a little bit. And that's everybody having a good old chat in the which I haven't been following. So maybe it's a good idea to do that, to follow. All right, Xbox is deafened. As soon as you get back, Xbox will switch over, right? Let's start at the top. Cafe, are you? I can't. I don't know where you stand. Are you a theist or just plain theist? Tell us. We all need to know. All right. So Algorithm says, I've yet to hear any evidence that is explicitly and exclusively pointing to God. a god. They have thousands of years to document any, and we're still waiting. If some comes to light, I'll change my position. All right, that's very. I wouldn't be so giving. I will never change my position because all gods, or even a god all gods are impossible, and a god is impossible. So then Cafe writes, algorithm. Well, I've heard McRae's arguments as well, and I don't think they're bad. He's trying to get a peer-reviewed and published on the semantics of these terms. What? Like atheism, agnosticism, etc. I never heard about that. Cafe says, algorithm, you don't consider St. Paul on the Damascus Road evidence? Of course not. Algorithm? How can, I mean, Cafe, sorry, algorithm. Cafe, that's not evidence. That's just fairy tale. It's just story. That was evidence convincing enough to Paul. So St. Paul and Paul are the same person, right? So, okay. But I assume, sorry, I fucked that up. You don't consider St. Paul on the Damascus Road evidence? That was evidence convincing enough to Paul, but I assume you're skeptical and probably assume he experienced delusion, hallucination, or something to that effect. Cafe, you don't say. You don't say. Algorithm says atheism has...
Test.
Oh, yeah, back. Yeah, baby.
You hear me?
Yes. Fine.
I have no idea what happened.
It doesn't matter. You're back. Awesome. Welcome.
Yep. Right on.
All right. Let me just bring him. Just change the scene.
I went through like 3 different microphones. And...
Oh, it was your hardware?
Yeah, I did. Or I think it's the software running the hardware that the drivers for it.
All right.
I'm on Windows 11, so the drivers might not be up to date for it.
Okay, so you're on Windows on a Windows that's been crippled.
Yeah.
Crippled by progress.
At least it's not Vista.
I remember that. I still have a computer here that came with Vista originally.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's now just a shelf or something.
Those are actually the ones that came with Vista and had like a Vista sticker on them and all that.
Yeah, that's what I got.
Those are usually the only ones that worked.
Yeah, mine worked.
Otherwise, you had to buy like a brand new video card, new RAM, all kinds of crap just to get Vista to run.
Yeah, I think I ultimately upgraded Vista to whatever, it's Windows 7 or whatever came afterwards. I can't remember.
Yep. See, I skipped Vista. I didn't even... I installed it and played around on it just to see what it was like. But within a day, I had it uninstalled and Windows XP back on it. I like Windows 7. I didn't like Windows 10 so much, and this Windows 11 is kind of weird too.
No, I'm still running Windows 10.
If they would keep updating Windows 7, I would have stayed with it. But I know there's a couple big, huge security flaws in it, and they never fixed it. They never made a patch for them for the
7?
security flaws.
Oh. I didn't know that.
Leave you vulnerable like that. Even no matter how much I like it, I'm not going to use it. Not with a computer that connects online anyway.
So, like, a computer that runs Windows 10, I mean Windows 11, is it did you have to get a different computer, or did you just throw Windows 11?
Oh no. I just installed a fresh copy of it on there.
Okay.
I got the ISO from, or the ISO file
Yeah.
off a Microsoft site, and that it'll make a USB installer for you, or you can burn it off onto a disk. And then I just did a brand new flat install. My
Mm.
computer's probably 8 years old, if not maybe a little bit more.
Mine is younger than that, but it won't accept Windows 11. My processor is not supported.
Oh, there's a way around the processor error, and there's a way around the TPM security error of why it won't install. You have to have a copy of regular Windows like 10 on your computer, and you go into the registry editor and you add a couple things, and then go to install Windows 11. And when you do, it'll skip those errors. And it's that hacking it that way, doing it with the registry editor. It's actually there's a tutorial on Microsoft's website of how to do it. So they know that they screwed up by putting those restrictions on it.
The question is then, when will Windows stop updating Windows 10?
Yeah. And it's probably got another good 10 years.
Well, it's
I
another
wouldn't
10
have.
years.
I'm gonna downgrade back to Windows 10 and leave Windows 10 on my main machine
Mm-hmm.
until they stop supporting it. Windows 11 looks like it's a mix between Linux and Apple's operating system.
Okay, I'm gonna go into my registry right now and start the update. Hold on a minute.
Yeah, did you find the tutorial where it talks about it?
No, I'm just gonna do it. I don't need no tutorial. I'm a man. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna do anything.
There is where you can go into the registry editors and add a registry D-word thing. It's not that complicated to do.
No, but I'm lazy, you know.
Yeah, I wouldn't. It's not worth the messing with it.
No.
That's why it was taking me so long to mess with my microphone. Is used to down by your clock, you could hit the little speaker, and it would give you your options for your mixer board or for your sound settings.
Mm-hmm.
And now when you click on it, it gives you like, let me see, I'm gonna click on it. I have an HBO show playing, and before I jumped in yours, and I have it paused. It shows that. It shows Bluetooth, airplane mode, nightlight, focus assist, accessibility, and then it has a volume slider.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all when you click on the speaker.
So you don't have a volume mixer? Or
No, it's got to be in here somewhere.
well,
It just
do you have a volume icon on the bottom bar?
it does, but all that stuff that I just named off, the Bluetooth and airplane mode and all that, that's what pops up when you click on the little
When
speaker.
you right click on it or right click on it?
Yeah, when you right click on it, you get sound settings, and then open the volume mixer.
Yeah, open the volume
But
mix is what I'm talking about.
yeah, but when you open, you say that. Let me turn my camera on. I'll show you just like a brief scene of what the volume mixer looks like
Okay.
on Windows 11. Let's see. I don't want to share my screen because it's got some stuff on it, so I'm just going to point the camera at it. Just 1 second. Oops. All right. So let's see. Open. There, if you can see that.
Open volume mixer, yeah.
That's if I right click it. If I just straight click, if I left click it,
No, right.
this is all the stuff I get.
Yeah, do the right click.
But if you right click, oops, if you right click and go to the sound volume mixer,
Yeah, volume mixer. There you go.
that's what the volume mixer looks like.
Yeah, but pull down the arrow, the drop downs. There you go. Okay, what's the next one?
Yeah, it's just set up completely different.
So yeah, at the top there's where it says speakers and microphone. You have to click on that.
Yeah. That's how I ended up getting
there
it.
you go,
I still have 2 microphones plugged in.
Wow. You could always reset and then just start again.
Yeah, that's what I kept trying to do, and finally it picked up, started working. But you can see it's a little more complicated than it used to be.
Indeed.
But maybe once you get used to it, it's okay. But I haven't gotten used to it, and it looks like they've taken a bunch of the settings away that you used to could tweak. Like, you know how you could turn on sound effects or enhanced audio or like bass mode or things like that, just little enhancements.
Mm-hmm.
You can't turn those things on
This is
anymore.
what mine looks like right now. Volume mixer.
I can't see yours. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, Windows 10. It's the volume mixer.
Yep. Yeah, see, right click on it. Not on the mixer, but on the speaker. And go to like recording devices.
I don't have the recording devices. I have sound settings, volume mixer, sounds, troubleshoot.
Go to sounds. Sounds, I think, pops it up too.
And what do you want from there?
It'll show you all your microphones that are plugged in, and it'll show you all your speakers that are plugged in.
Correct.
Just on different tabs.
In advanced sound settings, sound uploads, I should say.
Yeah, you should have little tabs that show them.
Exactly. I'll show you.
And if you double click on one of your microphones, it gives you an option for like enhancements or your speakers too, like loudness control.
Yep. There you
and
go.
things like that.
Exactly.
None of that stuff is on Windows 11, like the loudness control and stuff like that.
Yeah. You see, that's all I got. I got all that control over that.
Yeah, so, some of mine don't have that. They didn't have it before I had Windows 11 either. And sometimes you have to install the drivers from the manufacturer, not from Windows Update.
Correct.
And then when you do that, you get a bunch of extra settings. But I haven't like you said, like I haven't messed around with it to go. I'm not gonna go find the drivers and install them.
Apparently, a lot of my drivers are out of date, and every time I go check them, they say the message is this is the latest Microsoft driver, but the manufacturer might have a more updated driver, and I couldn't be bothered.
Right.
Sometimes you don't even know who the manufacturer is because it's a standard something or other.
Oh, right. Like if it's a built-in sound card or
Mhm.
built-in network card, things like that. You never know. No, I'll drop back down to Windows 10 and leave it there until they get rid of it.
I wonder how Alpha's doing with the wildlife in the back garden.
Yeah, I heard the dog growling.
Mm-hmm.
We have 6 dogs. We 2 miniature chihuahuas and 4 miniature chiweenies.
Miniature tweenies?
Chiweenie.
A chiweenie.
It's a mix between a Dachshund and a Chihuahua.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. That's cute.
So like a chiweenie.
Yeah.
Wiener dog.
Mm-hmm.
They essentially look like Chihuahuas, just have a long body.
Mm.
But they range in weight from like 3.5 pounds, 4 pounds to a 15-pound one.
Oh, really?
Somehow the one of them ended up being a giant.
How'd that work? How the hell does that work?
No, I saw it was a few days ago. You had a live stream up. I think it was this past weekend. I saw you. I had clicked on it, not knowing it was your channel. I'd clicked on it just because it was live,
Yeah. Okay.
and it had something about Darth Dawkins.
Okay.
So I clicked on it and
Oh, clickbait. Darth
realized.
Dawkins.
Do I?
I said clickbait. Darth Dawkins.
Right. Yep. It worked. And then I saw that it was your channel and that I was still subscribed to it. So I was like, oh, okay. Hell yeah. He's
Oh.
still fucking around.
Mm-hmm. I took a break for, when Trump was around.
Mm.
But once Trump left the premises, I came back. Because we were really strong. We were really going strong up until Trump. And then it seemed like everything just died.
Well, Sidney, hasn't your channel grown a little bit since then, though?
I haven't what?
I think your subscriber numbers have grown, getting close to 1,000.
Nah, not even close. I don't even have 750.
3/4 of the way there.
Yeah, but it's been going for 12 years, so maybe in another 12 years I'll get 1,000 subscribers. We can only hope.
I can't remember. My channel, it's still there, but all the videos are privated.
Oh yeah, okay.
Maybe one of these days I'll unprivate some of them. I just need to go through them, and there's no way I'm going to go through and edit every one of them. No. They're 8-hour hangouts, but some of them were pretty fun.
Sometimes it's good to just replay them, just like for old time's sake. But now I've been going through some of mine, and I have to make a different plan for some of them. Some of them, the online etiquette and what was allowed back in 2016 is disallowed now. You get cancelled and banned and shit for what was said.
Right.
So I'm thinking of when I live stream those kinds of retro videos, I'm thinking of doing it straight to Odyssey because
Hmm.
there's no restrictions and censorship and shit like that. So
Right.
I'm gonna give that a try with beer and Cheerios. I have some beer. I have a beer and Cheerios. Do you remember beer and Cheerios?
No.
You remember Stephen Hawks?
This sounds familiar.
Yeah. Anyway, he was beer and Cheerios, and his mantra was when anybody joined the room, it was his mantra was cam up or kick rocks. In other words, put your camera on or get the
Right.
fuck out.
Right.
So yeah, and the talk at that time was pretty raw. If you remember,
For sure.
Mike Owen, he really
Hmm.
was the guy who really was the racist and the misogynist and the fuck everything, and he's from Ontario, New Brunswick, or fuck Nova Scotia or somewhere, I don't know, somewhere in Canada. But
I remember we had a few of those.
I'm sorry, what?
I remember we had a few of those that were
Exactly. Now
just flat out
I
racist.
can't run the retro on this channel because I'm sure it'll get flagged and I might get into real trouble. But I can run it on Odyssey. Now I haven't run a live stream on Odyssey yet, so it'll be like a guinea pig thing, a trial run.
And you can always post a video saying if you want to see my raw content, go to Odyssey.
Absolutely.
Blah blah blah. Whatever your name is on there.
Yeah.
You can put that up on YouTube and
Well,
direct
actually,
people.
if we want to have absolutely uncensored content, I should do it on Odyssey anyway, and just throw up a link on YouTube in a YouTube comment or whatever they call it, YouTube post.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's what I was meaning. Do that and throw up a video that has the words, the link just written on it, and then just keep it live
Yeah.
stream, like keep it live streaming just with the. Don't worry about talking on it or anything. Just leave the link there on the
Exactly.
video.
In the post.
No, in the on the screen, like on the like where your face would be. Just get some text and put it you know, raw content odyssey.com slash
Got it.
Sidney blah blah blah,
Yeah.
and then just let them. That way, if someone from YouTube comes to your channel, they can see where they can go catch your actual stuff.
Mm.
You can make one short video, or you can make a live stream that just runs and just has that tag on it.
Oh,
But you could probably make
That's clever.
because I know down in the comment or the info section, if you link over to Odyssey, YouTube's gonna ban you. But I
all
don't
my
think
videos are
they.
linked to Odyssey. They all my YouTube content or automatically appears on Odyssey.
I was just right when you said that. I was thinking it's not ban. It's they demonetize. I think.
Well, I don't have monetization, so
Yeah, if you don't have that, then you don't have to worry about it. It's
Mm.
not gonna hurt you.
no, not gonna hurt me at all. That's not a big deal. But YouTube is censored now, and free speech is stifled.
Yeah, I don't even know, like, if I make it a hangout today, what I could say and what I can't say.
Well, you could try here and see what See what you can
See
get
what
away with.
happens.
Yeah, see what happens.
I know some of this stuff to get you like demonetized, but I don't
Yeah,
know
all you gotta
anything.
do is talk racism or something like, or
Yeah,
support
just
some
straight
extremism.
cuss,
Yeah.
straight cuss, or start talking about something overly sexual or
Or promoting violence,
racist,
or,
like you
yeah,
said.
racism, or any kind of violence, or sexual violence. All that kind of stuff is. It's probably in a way it's good that it's censored, but in another way it's censorship. So I'm not a supporter of censorship in any
Yeah, I'm not either.
way.
I do, and I think if it's a call to action,
especially online.
the only place I draw a line is when it's a call for action in a negative way. Like if you call for someone to go be hurt, if
Yeah.
you get a rally and get a riot started up, and then you say, "Now let's go kill him," or "We should all go hang him," or "Burn his house down," or "With him in it."
That's what they did to Joseph Smith, didn't they? Let's go kill him. And they found him in jail, and they yanked him out of jail, and they killed him. That's how much they hated him.
I was telling someone the other day about Joseph Smith. I can't remember who it was. I think it was my mom. I think I was talking to my mother, my mom, and she had went to somewhere in Missouri it's called the Garden of Eden, Missouri.
I'm sure it's a lovely
And
place.
yeah, it actually is a nice place, but that's where Joseph Smith or some of the LDS believe that Jesus actually that's where all the stuff took place, is in Missouri.
Yeah, well, sounds plausible to me.
I think that's where he found the seer stones or the golden tablets.
So really, the whole Jesus story is bullshit. There's Joseph Smith, who did exist, because we can prove he exists, versus Jesus Christ, who didn't exist. So whose story is more plausible? Somebody
Right.
didn't exist. Somebody existed and claims to be the prophet, or somebody didn't exist, who other people claim a non-existent person to be a prophet. I take Joseph Smith.
Right.
So
No, I'm there with you.
let's promote Mormonism over Christianity.
Let's not say we did. God.
As I say, depending on which ones you go with, like there's a sect of them that's pretty bad, but they also buy up a ton of property. And they're
Are
kind
we
of like
talking about LDS? Colorado City? Those fuckers?
yeah,
Black Water Clan or whatever? Well, yeah.
yeah. Have like 72 wives, and they're all
Yes.
12.
Yeah, 72 wives, and 71 of them are collecting welfare. They call it bleeding
You're
the
right.
beast. Yeah. Yeah.
There's a scam around every corner, huh?
Oh yeah.
Fundamentalist Mormons have their own way of both funding those communities and keeping outsiders out. But I got a special beef with those people. Sidney well knows. I was speaking about it. Yep.
We should have a separate stream about it at some point when the time is right.
Most of the time, when what I do is I stumble and I'm go, "Oh, you're talking about morons?" I'm sorry, Mormons.
The morons, yeah, they
Yes,
come by
the
there.
morons. They were led by the angel Moroni. He's the
Right.
That's the
first
angel.
of all the angels.
How come the
Yeah.
angel's an Italian guy? It has an Italian name. That's what I don't understand.
I don't know. Joseph Smith just farted that out of his imagination. He's no better than L. Ron Hubbard in that regard.
Yeah,
They're
Yeah,
right.
both
that's
modern prophets, and both have huge
exactly.
churches. Very, very rich. Lots and lots of properties and holdings that are part of what I see as a giant corporate entity.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
not allowed to be called a cult, but as far as I'm concerned, both of those are.
Yeah, cults or I would call them cults too. But if you want to take a little bit softer stance on at least the Mormons, you can call them like a lodge, like the Masons or the Shriners.
Oh, Xbox, I would agree with you 100% if it weren't for the goddamn conversion centers. The forced
Right,
conversion
right.
centers.
I didn't think
And
about that.
yeah, they have this whole teen rehab industry with, locations all over the world and several scattered around the country. And they will only they will only set these places up in states where kids and teens really don't have any rights at all.
Right.
And we do have states like that, unfortunately, still left in the US. But that's where they set up shop, and yep,
That's pretty
they
sad.
use brainwashing techniques to force people into their religion. And in some cases, in other cases, they know the people going in, the teens going in, or they figure out within a month of being in that the only way they're going to get out is if they convert,
Right.
and it becomes conditional. And either way, as far as I'm concerned, if you're holding a teen against their will in a lockdown facility and you're forcing them religion, what are you doing? Oh, and you're also using, techniques like hypnotherapy and other branches of psychology for evil,
Yeah.
as
The
brainwashing
gay
and not as a healing practice, So
they use the gay conversion therapy and
the gauge conversion therapy is really, really coercive and high pressure as far as like bringing down sort of the weight of society on you.
yeah.
But I don't think it's as bad as what they do in the Mormon teen centers because you can only do so much to an adult, right?
Yeah,
Once you
absolutely.
have some life experience under your belt, and if you're at all a skeptic, you're just exponentially harder to convert or to drag over into a religious philosophy unless you maybe have that upbringing. I didn't. So
Yeah. That I think you catch anyone that's under 25 and their brain isn't fully developed. It's still it's almost fully developed, but it's still got that little bit of sway there that you've got a
plasticity.
chance
It's
you got a
actual
chance of
plasticity. Yeah.
conversion.
Yep. Yep. I agree. I agree. So, um,
So if
I
you can
grew
get
up in
them before that
around
age,
Scientologists. They're fucking culties. I had no idea how bad it was, but now I've met a bunch of ex-Scientologists, and they've given me the whole rundown on that, and it's unbelievable. I thought that the Mormons were bad, where the church in church these people get into like competitive tithing, like, well, you give
right?
25%, well, I give 30. I give 40. I'm like, I give 50, and I'm a multi-millionaire, and it's nuts.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
That's
Scientology, they want every fucking cent. They'll
see,
they'll
I've
they'll
heard a
make
ton about
everything if they
Scientology.
can. Yeah.
I've heard a ton about them from reliable sources. I've watched tons of documentaries about them, but I've never got to actually physically interact with one.
Mm.
I
Not
haven't.
that
One
I
of my closest
seek
friends
out
on
and
earth
want to.
was a Scientologist for 25 years, and she was in the Sea Org. She was in the upper
Right.
echelons of the organization. She literally
Right.
worked her ass off, gave everything to it in order to get that status. And once they got her to the point where she had absolutely nothing, they stuck her in a shitty industrial building in, you know what I mean, on
Oh, are you talking about the wife?
edges of the way. Huh?
Are you talking about the wife of I forget his name, the leader of Scientology?
Shelley Miscavige is missing and has been missing for a long time now.
Yeah, that's
We're
right
not
here you're
talking
talking about.
Shelley. No. My friend was not anybody you would have heard of. She was just one of, you know what I mean, one of 100,000, right, faithless people that have
Right.
went into it a little bit lost and got really caught up in both the ideology and the performance art of it, of using
Yeah.
half of a lie detector machine and convincing people that the, you know, how the needle is wiggling is significant when,
Yeah, the thetan
you know,
levels
it's
were
really
too
not.
high.
Yeah, you're not getting anywhere with that thing. It's not. It's fucking pseudoscience. You might as well lay down and have somebody wave crystals over you. Bullshit, you know. But I think because there is kind of a biofeedback like thing going on there, you know, it ends up convincing the person who's engaged in it that it's real. It seems to be a very potent manipulation tool that they use. I just think it's weird that Philip K. Dick ended up predicting a lot of this stuff, you know, sci-fi novels and stories like well before, you know, any of that stuff ended up taking place. But the whole idea of the, you know, the empathy box and the black box and holding onto these handles and sharing your empathetic experience is like, whoa, here go Philip K. Dick fucking predicting Scientology, you know, 10, 15 years before it went into the mainstream.
You know the story of Scientology, of L. Ron Hubbard, right? Have you?
I know most of his history. I don't like. I'm not obsessed with the man.
And how
You know.
how he got Scientology to be accepted as a religion. That's the most astounding part of Scientology.
Yeah, wasn't it a bet between Miscavige and oh, what's his name that started the Church of Satan?
Anton LaVey.
Crowley.
No, L. Ron Hubbard was from the 50s or something, 40s and 50s.
I thought it was a
think
bet
it-
between Crowley and him.
Oh, Crowley? I don't know about Crowley.
All right, was Aleister Crowley a contemporary of L. Ron Hubbard? I know that.
I know
that Anton LaVey was the. Anton LaVey was the Satanist, and
No,
looked up
Anton
at
LaVey was like
so-
I need to be
70s.
confused. The bet might have been between LaVey and
Because they really, I know what you're talking about. Though they were really, they both look like fucking Rasputin. You know what I mean? They were really going for that. You know, kind of.
Well, hey guys, I gotta run for the night. My wife's gotta work in the morning. It's
All right,
11
man.
p.m.
Xbox,
here.
thank you so much for popping in. It's good to see you again.
Yeah. Nice
Yeah,
meeting you,
love-
Xbox.
Yeah, you too. Oh, let me add you on my.
Yeah, we'll see you lots because
Listen here.
I'm trying to
Okay.
stream, you know, almost on a daily basis now.
Yeah, you're always
Yeah,
welcome to send me a friend request, and I also have a little dog training server that I'm going to try and get going.
Yep.
Right on.
Yeah.
I was telling Sid that I have 2 miniature chihuahuas and 4 miniature tweenies.
Got it. Cool.
We need pictures,
yap
pictures.
Yeah, we
I'll-
have
I'll get a
I
picture
did a
of them
whole
all.
separate training unit on
Throw your
training
pictures
little.
throw
little
pic-
sensitive, intelligent little dogs.
Throw your
And
pictures
I
in the
ended up getting
lobby.
a 6-pound Chihuahua for my own edification to learn more about them. You know what I mean? Because I knew that they were not kind of what the public represented them as, these like idiotic, yappy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Stupid little dogs. Like they're actually really, really intelligent. And half the
Yeah.
time, like they have very complex motivations for what they do. But if you can figure out like what motivates them, you can train them completely with no force, no yelling, no drama, you know, and really effectively change this
My
stuff.
dog
But
happens to be the most
you
intelligent
have to
dog
kind
on
of
the
push into
planet.
that.
Do you know that?
Exactly.
Jenny is really intelligent, and
My
she's also
dog.
really, really level-headed. Jenny
She
is like
totally
super,
is.
super stable.
Yeah.
She's not neurotic at all. She's
No.
like the opposite of what your typical Chihuahua
Yeah,
is. It's
she's
just
like a support dog.
yes, yes. But your average Chihuahua is paranoid and you know,
Yeah,
Mm.
and
we have
very aware.
one we have one that's like that. The and it's a Chiweenie, but the main Chihuahuas, the older ones are the Chihuahuas. The Chiweenies are only 3 years old, but
Yeah.
the Chihuahuas, the mom is a comfort dog for me.
Okay.
And so she doesn't have like the training of a service dog, but she does do the stuff of a comfort dog, and she about the only thing she yaps at is a vacuum.
Yeah.
But that's hard to get any dog not to yap at.
Yeah. There's a electronic oh gosh, it's a frequency that vacuum cleaners emits that's really upsetting to dogs. But it's
My dog
really
hates the
common.
vacuum. Oh,
Hate
she
the
she,
fucking
she
vacuum
attacks the
cleaner.
She tries to bite the vacuum cleaner like it's the postman.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
learn to hate it now. Just when they see it coming out of the closet, then they'll start going
Um,
after it, just knowing that it's fixing to be turned on.
my working Dobermans were fascinated with it, and they would actually play with the thing. It wasn't fear in their case. They would actually just get really sort of excited and turned on by the vacuum cleaner.
Yeah, I've
But
seen videos
yeah.
of dogs riding on vacuum cleaners, all that, and it's only my Chihuahuas that hate the vacuum. The Chiweenies, the babies, they could care less
Huh.
or couldn't
Yeah.
care less. Sorry.
Yeah. 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 Well,
Like
cool. Well, I have to. You'll have to show some pictures sometime.
yeah. If they're in here next time, I'll kick on the video, or if not, I'll try to get a picture of all of them.
Yeah, we don't.
One
The room
question.
is always open. We don't always live stream.
Yeah.
Okay.
One question: do you find that your Chiweenies are good with children or don't like children?
They really haven't been around children.
Okay.
They haven't really been around other humans besides my immediate family, like my wife and my kids.
Got it. Okay. Okay. Some of the Chiweenies that I've met just seem to have this racial hatred for kids. He really,
I
really
swear to God,
despises
one
them.
of mine is.
Huh?
It's funny you say that. I swear to God, one of mine is. It'll watch the TV sometimes, and it's only one of them will watch the TV. The rest of them couldn't care less if the TV is on, what's
Right.
on it. But one of them will sit there and watch it, and every now and then we'll start barking at it. And I swear to God, it's when black people come on.
Yep.
And I'm like, shut up, racist. she, she shuts up, but it's the weirdest thing. It's just funny that you say that.
White
I don't
nationalists
think
go
she's a racist dog, but it's funny that you say
No,
that. And
some dogs
she
will
acts-
react to something that, you know what I mean, that they're not used to seeing, and if they're not used to seeing dark-skinned people, it's not unusual. I was told that there's a special dog in South Africa that has been bred specifically not to like black people, and that they have doubled up on this characteristic over time, and a lot of people, very, very rich white plantation owners down there use them for guard dogs. So I don't know if there's any truth to it, but
I have to look into that.
yeah.
That just sounds wild. I know Chihuahuas used to be big dogs, and they never lost the mentality of being a big dog, even though they were bred down tiny. So they still think that they're big dogs.
I never knew that. There used to be big dogs. Really?
Yeah, they
have some ancestral dogs with the Aztecs and the Incans. You know what I mean? The native people of Mexico and South America used to keep them.
So have
as
dogs been
a
part
water
of
bottle,
have
a
dog-
hot water bottle, and also food when times got really, really scarce. They didn't like eating them, but you know what I mean. When push came to shove,
Yeah.
they would.
It's
and-
like armies eating their horses when they were stolen.
Yeah, it was. They still had a lot of the same structure, but they were larger. They were like between 10 and 20 pounds.
yeah.
I think there's also a possibility that they might have done a little bit of shepherding, like a little bit of rounding up and moving small livestock like goats or sheep around.
Yeah, they don't really know. Like, everything I've read, they don't know the complete lineage of a Chihuahua. It's one of the few dogs they don't know that it goes back to a wolf. They can't definitively say that a Chihuahua goes back to a wolf.
I could believe that. You want to know why? Because
Yes, I
Chihuahuas
do.
were one of 3 dogs that scored the worst on the behavioral wolfiness test. They did this research where they broke dogs down into key breed groups, and they selected like 30 breeds. Mostly they really tried to pick popular dogs, right? And they put them through this volume of tests. See, a 30-day-old wolf already has, I think, 14 of the 18 adult wolf social behaviors that they need in order to be a wolf, right? And by the time that wolf is 8 or 10 weeks old, you know what I mean? It's really, it's got almost all of its wolf programming, right?
Yeah.
But what they did was they sort of broke down all of those behavioral tendency, everything from like eye staring, you know what I mean, between conspecifics, bone guarding, all of these different things like that wolves have to do, right, in order to be, social and adapt, right? And then they saw what levels of dogs still displayed all these wolfy characteristics, right? The Siberian Husky was the one that had the most. Like, it by far was the most wolfy dog. It was 15 of 8, right? And if you've ever been around Huskies, you go, well, that makes sense. They're really primal and weird, and they're not real human oriented, They tend to form much stronger relationships with each other than with people.
Yeah.
They're notoriously difficult to obedience train.
Yeah. They'll be
And nearly
packed.
impossible to control off leash.
Yeah.
Right? But then you go down to like a Chihuahua and a Cavalier King Charles Spaniel, 2 of the 16 behavioral tendencies. 2.
I believe it.
And a Cavalier, same thing. Like, people say, oh, dominance this, dominance that. I'm like, you ever had a Cavalier Spaniel? Because Cavalier Spaniel just doesn't act very, you know what I mean? Doesn't have all these wolfy dominance behaviors that people like to preach about. The ethics or whatever of using this stuff and saying, well, it's natural. It's like, well, okay, maybe for a husky, yes, right? But for a Chihuahua, if you subject it to that sort of dominance training, a lot of the time you're gonna fucking traumatize it. You may do damage that's almost irreversible, right?
Right.
Through,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, rough handling or anger or whatever. Because what I found is that, okay, Chihuahuas aren't very wolfy, right? The only thing mine would roll in smelly stuff. So that was one of the behaviors that was listed, you know.
Right.
Um,
Yep.
and she would guard a bone from conspecifics, and that was it.
Yes.
Like literally nothing else on that categorical sheet would fit her. And it wasn't just my dog, right? Like the vast majority of Chihuahuas, like 2 behaviors,
Yeah.
3 top. You know what I mean? Cavalier
Yeah.
Spaniel was 2 behaviors consistently, never outside, and they were always the same. And people are going, okay, there might be something to this. Maybe we shouldn't be comparing every fucking dog to a wolf. Maybe that's not.
Right.
You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
with people
It's
like
either
me,
been
that
bred
have
out of
15
them.
years boots on the ground doing behavioral work, right? And trying to just sort of go outside the norm, you know, because in our society, right, it's either all positive or all negative, and there's no nuance, there's nothing in between, right? And that's not how I did stuff.
Mhm.
But yeah, really, really
Yeah.
opened my eyes when they did that. I'm like, that's some fucking slick research right there. Because I
Right.
think they put 8,000 dogs or something through the survey.
Jeez.
No shit. Yeah. Big sample. Yeah. So if anybody ever tells you to dominance tip your Chihuahua, you know what I mean, or grab it by its neck and flip it over and hold it down, tell them that they're absolutely crazy and that they
Yeah.
shouldn't be doing that to little dogs that are super people oriented. You'll just make them crazy. They'll make them to where
Right.
they're terrified of strangers and strange interactions, that they'll think, oh shit, what is this guest? Are they guests going to come over and dominance tip me because I'm nervous, you know?
These are just the Chihuahuas. The one that's the comfort dog that when I first had it, I would take it to Walmart with me and just set it up in the top basket. And it
Yep.
didn't care that other people were around. It wouldn't bark at them.
But, yep,
And
yep.
it didn't care about the loud noises. It wasn't like sitting there shaking the whole time or anything.
Sure.
But
No, like I said,
they are
it's really
they are real
got one
territorial.
because yes. But it's not out of dominance, it's out of nervousness, it's out of paranoia. And most of the
Yep.
time, that yuppiness is trying to get a human over to go, this is really freaking me out, you need to deal with this, you know?
Exactly. Yeah. One of them we have to give meds to cut its nails,
Yep,
and so
Yep.
and that's the one that I was talking about. That's real skittish about everything.
Oh, you want a tip? Is it a really, really
Sure.
small Chihuahua, like 7 pounds or less? Really small?
Yeah.
Or is it
Yeah.
a bigger dog? Get yourself a cat muzzle. Look up cat muzzle. It's a blindfold. Goes over the dog's whole head, covers their mouth, right? But they can't see. You just
All right.
hood the little sucker like a hunting falcon, and you put the hood on, right? And you just handle their feet, and then take the hood off, right?
Right. Yeah. Well,
Yes,
that's
right,
what I hold it down.
where they can wear the hood for a couple of minutes without any sort of a disturbance, you know. And you can give them little
Right.
treats and stuff in between, so they associate putting this on with good things happening, right?
Right.
But once they
Yeah.
can't see, a lot of the time, the clipper and you handling the feet, they're a lot calmer about it. And
Yeah.
you just
That's what I was gonna
push them
say. Is I
on.
hold it down
Yeah,
and keep it from seeing what's going on, and my wife will sit there and start cutting the
yeah,
nails.
yeah.
I
But
hate
you might
having
want
to
to check
drug
it out.
dogs.
It's like a $6 deal, if you can do it at home, the stress levels are going to come down anyway. And you want to avoid using tranquilizers as much as possible, right? They're
Yeah, that's
expensive
what I
and they're,
hate drugs.
right, can be hard on them. Yeah, give that a shot. And then the
Yeah, I'll
other
check
thing
it out.
is some people that swaddle their chihuahuas, right? So
Yeah.
like, you take a towel and you know what I mean? You wrap the
Yeah,
chihuahua
you
up
do.
really, really tightly to where
Yeah.
you can pull out just one little paw, and
Yeah,
a lot
that's
of the time
exactly what
once
I do.
they can't move, they kind of calm down. So
Yep.
there was a third option, and that's
Have you
using the
seen
groomers did this.
my
You get a little
small
sling, and you actually put
movie?
them to where their feet aren't touching the ground at all. They're in this little like harness like sling, and
That's what I
they're
was just
hooked
gonna
up,
say is my
Yep.
wife told me that she found some pictures of people using like Walmart plastic bags and cutting 4 holes in the corners of them and then picking the dog up and hanging it.
You could make your own. No reason why you can't. You know what I mean?
That's fine.
Yeah. It's just when they don't have any leverage to struggle, a lot of the time they calm down from that too. So
Yeah,
it's
they
two
give
different
in.
options. They're not punishing. They're not harsh, and they're not dangerous.
Yeah, I'll check that out. Definitely, I
Yeah,
appreciate
cat
that.
muzzle. Yeah, that's yeah. I know some really also super dramatic pugs. That as long as they don't see the nail clipping going on, but otherwise it's just the struggling and the sounds that pugs make when they don't want their nails clipped. It's
Yeah,
truly
I can imagine. They make a weird enough sound anyway,
demonic wrong.
or a weird enough bark most of the time.
Dear
Like,
God, what are you doing to him?
all right, well, I better jump off here. I'll get
Yep.
get my ass kicked. But
Yep.
I'll try to stop. If you have this open all the time, I'll come back to stop by.
Yeah,
I
sure.
got your
Check
server here saved, I
Yeah.
think.
Check in anytime.
Yeah, we like to have fun.
If for some reason I don't have your server saved, I'll just watch your live thing and try to jump in.
Yeah,
Try to
you'll
find
get
a link in
you'll
it
get
to
the
jump
link
back
from
in.
there. Yeah, exactly. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, man. Well, it was good meeting you too, Alpha and
Yeah.
Sid. And it was good seeing you again.
Yeah, it certainly was. Take care, Xbox. Good night.
Yeah, y'all have a good night.
Take care.
Okay.
Are we still live or?
Yeah, we're still live. I still
okay.
I still haven't gotten to the Darth
Well,
Dawkins
you
videos.
can add that as a feature to your podcast.
What's that?
26 years in training, husbandry, breeding of dogs, and then giving it away for free.
Harlem, welcome.
Hey, what's up, my brother?
How are you? I haven't spoken to you in a
Man,
long time.
I know, in a long time. I can't get a hold of you, man. Now you're using this Discord crap. What happened to the regular old Hangout thing?
The Hangout thing is great, except I have to open up a Hangout and then people come in. Whereas the Discord, the room is always there. You can
just
go
put
into
the
the
link out.
room
Yeah.
and see if there's anyone there. If there's no one else, if there's no one there, you can either stay there until someone comes or leave, right? With Hangout,
that's
you couldn't
true.
do that.
No, you have more control over the live stream with the Discord. I understand. I see that.
Exactly. Yeah.
You just put the link out, just like I just clicked the link and boom, bam, you're in the show.
Pretty much.
How you been though, man? How's everything going?
Everything's been great. I'm COVID, the whole pandemic and the whole stay at home and lockdown, to me it didn't make one whit of a difference because I live that way anyway. So
same thing with me, yo.
Yeah, cool. So
it didn't make me no difference, David, dude. Like everyone's complaining, like, "Hey,
Exactly.
I can't wait for what the hell, nigga." I've been going through this shit. That's just what I do.
Yeah.
Shit, it's a good lifestyle for everyone.
Yeah.
Everybody should stay
Exactly.
the ass. in the house and mind their own business. That's good for everybody. I think COVID was good. COVID had a positive effect on society, if you ask me.
In what way?
Well, it kept everybody, to mind and tend to own their own business. It made things more personal amongst people had to kind of stay to themselves a little bit more.
Yeah, they had no choice, right?
Yeah, and I think it's a good thing. The whole mask thing. I haven't had a cold
Mm-hmm.
since the whole mask mandate.
Understand? Yeah.
Yeah, man. I think it just made things, made people have more privacy in society
I can't
itself.
understand why people are so angry at the government for being so concerned about their health.
I think it's a good thing, man. I like the whole mask mandate and everything about COVID.
Yeah,
Everything
I
about
followed
COVID was
everything.
pretty good.
Yeah, I followed the whole thing and did whatever they told me to do because it didn't make any difference to me because I didn't leave my house that much for it to bother me.
Right. The only thing I didn't do, Sydney, I didn't take any vaccines or nothing like that.
Oh, I did.
But
I took one. But it doesn't
yeah, I would
matter.
take. I never had COVID, not one time.
No,
I
if you
think,
wore your mask and you washed your hands and shit, you're fine.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, no.
that's the whole point of it.
You're not the
And
first.
not one
You're
time
not
with
the
it.
first person I've met who's actually done that successfully.
Yeah, I never had one. I never had COVID one time, man. And I wore my mask, and I think it's actually good, to wear your mask and wear gloves and things like that. I mean, the Asians, a lot of people from China and Japan, they've been wearing
They've been
masks.
wearing masks for years. I remember seeing it
Yeah,
on when tourists used to come
yeah, we out in the
from the
public.
Orient. I'm
Yeah.
hearing some feedback from you, Harlem. From your YouTube is obviously not muted.
Oh my God, I'm getting feedback. Shit.
I was. Sorry now.
Oh, sorry about that.
That's okay.
But it's good. It's good to hear from you, Sidney.
Thank you.
You've always been a cool dude, man. Like, it's really good to hear from you.
Thank
But
you very much. Have you
I
met?
think also,
Have you met Alpha?
huh?
We
Who's
have
Alpha?
Alpha in the room.
Hey, Alpha.
Yeah.
Hey, Alfie. How you doing, Alfie?
It's not Alfie. It's Alpha.
Alpha. Like Alpha male.
That's okay. I respond to Alfie.
Alpha
Alfie's
male.
close enough.
Did you hear that? Alpha male. He expects an alpha male.
Instead he gets an alpha ambiguous.
Yeah,
Alpha, I
exactly.
know who I'm talking to.
Do you consider yourself really an alpha personality, Alpha?
No, that entire that it was meant to be a joke because no,
Well, you're alpha to your
I
dogs.
tell everybody I refute dominance theory and I refute classical behaviorism because they've both been proven to either be a bunch of shit or only have very very limited application for that sort of thing. So yeah.
Well, let me ask you a question, Alpha. Are you a
Mhm.
conservative?
No, I'm
You're
definitely
not conservative?
I'm definitely a left leaning centrist. Yeah.
Wow. Hey, Sydney, are you a conservative, Sydney?
I'm a right leaning centrist.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm definitely conservative. I agree with a lot of things conservative people say, except for the white supremacy thing. When they go into that loses me. But other than
Yeah.
that, I'm
Fucking icky as
pretty much a conservative.
Yeah. Well, the racism is probably what I have the biggest problem with, and that's probably what
That's kind of where they lose me at. Yeah,
tipping
they
a
lose me.
little bit left to center, but however, left extremists are just as big of a threat to our freedoms as right extremists. I see both of them. I see both of them as a huge fucking problem. So
Right. So we're on the same page pretty much to some degree. I hate
I
the
have
left.
a lot of common ground with.
Oh,
with,
I
with
think you guys have a
fucking
lot of
hate
common
the
ground.
left. I don't like the left at all. I don't understand why we are giving so much money to immigrants. I don't think America owes immigrants anything. Why are we giving immigrants money? Why is our tax dollars going to immigrants when America never harmed immigrants? What does America owe to immigrants?
Well, one would argue that that's what America is, because we were originally we're like
I'm not an immigrant.
but we had our little colonies, right?
Me myself, and I'm the farthest thing from an immigrant.
Oh, we're talking about modern day. You're absolutely right. But my family, I have half that came over on the Mayflower, and my great grandfather on my dad's side came over on Ellis Island, so he was an immigrant. Grandfather was a justice of the peace in New York.
So you sympathize with immigrants because of that. That's the problem.
I don't know if I sympathize with immigrants. I just have a family history that way. Those same immigrants flipped around and fought for our side in World War II. So that's I'm just saying just where I'm coming from.
Us being foundational people, I'm a foundational Black American, and my people also fought in every war in America.
Yep.
So there's nothing significant about that. What I'm saying is, I like Trump's policy on immigration. I like that he was enforcing the immigration laws. Another group of people that America doesn't owe anything to would be LGBT. Why is our tax dollars funding different things for them? America hasn't.
I have a lot of gay friends, so I don't know. Guess I can't be with you there. But yep, this is why the needle wiggles over.
Well, I tell you what, I find that
over
kind
to
of
the left, I guess.
I find that kind of questioning and that kind of conversation kind of creepy, because what Harlem seems to be saying is he has a right to know what goes on in people's bedrooms, and knowing what goes on in people's bedrooms, he can control what happens in their lives, or how the government can somehow rule their lives somehow. It's kind of creepy that you have that view, Harlem.
I think as a Jewish person, and you're Jewish, right, Sidney?
I'm an atheist, Harlem.
But you're Jewish though. You're atheist, but your ethnicity is Jew, right?
I'm an Ashkenazi.
Okay, so
I'm an Ashkenazi atheist.
Okay, I find what you just said to be creepy.
Oh, tell me why.
Because that's what your people do. You're projecting right now. You're projecting what your people is known for onto me, and I find that to be very creepy. You're like you're being a Jew right now. That's what your people do. You do that to a lot of different ethnicities throughout the world. You project. You tell them, "Hey, you're the boogeyman. You're doing this to me." Da da da. When all along, you're the one doing the creepy shit.
It's interesting.
You're
that,
the
it's
creepy
interesting
one.
that it's interesting that you say that.
Yeah, you're the fucking creeper. You're the creepy one.
I'd love to hear a consensus of opinion on that one. What do you think? Am I creepy, Alpha, because I'm not a conservative?
Do you
I
think
come from a
Sidney
very,
is
very,
projecting?
very strange place when it comes to the whole "it's the Jews" thing.
I want to challenge. I want to agree with Alpha on that one, and I'm going to challenge you about this "it's the Jew" thing. Come on, Harlem. What's this with the Jews?
Well, we know that when it comes to the white race, they're broken up into different tribes, right? You got Russians, you got Germans, you got Italians, you got the Spanish, you got different tribes, right?
Okay.
You got the Jewish
And you
people.
got mutts.
This guy's from
You
New
have-
York,
you-
so his
you-
boundaries are pretty much New York City.
Got it.
City,
Okay.
don't do that. Don't do that, City. Let me get my point
Okay,
across.
go ahead.
So out of the different tribes of white people, the Jews tend to dominate. They're the most. When you look at the world, you look at the world banking system, they're all controlled by fucking Jews. All of them. The Bilderbergs, the Wahlbergs, the Rockefellers, the DuPonts, the
The DuPonts are French.
they're Jewish French.
Were they Jewish French?
Let him finish.
I thought they were just straight French French.
You don't think Jewish people have any influence in France? They have influence all over the world. These are the international banking families. They're all Jewish. All of them.
But
So
what's the crime
that's-
in that? What's the crime?
there's no crime in that. I'm just saying that when it
You're-
comes to the white race.
So you're admiring
the
them
one-
for
the
being.
one-
You're admiring the Jews for being in the forefront.
I do admire the Jewish people.
Fuck, man. All of a sudden, this is getting very interesting.
Isn't it?
The Jewish tribe, because out of the white race you have different tribes. I do admire the Jewish tribe because they're so kick ass, they're so intelligent, but they are, in my opinion, they are the top tribe amongst the white race. When you talk about the race of white people, the different races of whites, I would put the Jews as at the top.
Okay.
Okay, then in that case, I'm Jewish.
No, I mean, don't get me wrong. There's gonna be people that happen to be Jewish that are not a part of the different families that control the world and all that. The average people.
The thing
you
is,
know,
though,
and
the only thing
that's
is,
the beauty of it.
the only thing is, Harlem, I don't, as an Ashkenazi, I don't consider myself to be part of the white race because I'm Ashkenazi, which is not
That's
part
the
of the
problem.
white race.
That's
I
that's
don't
the
even believe that there's a white race. So to mention when
I
you
sure
talk
as
about
shit am
white
not
race,
part of that.
when you talk about white race, I don't see one.
There's a white race. Come on, let's be honest.
No. You know what I used to do whenever I was asked to fill out ethnicity questions on a survey? I would check other and I would write in pinkish beige.
But there is a white race. Let's be honest. There is a white race.
There is
White
not a white
people-
race.
There is
There's a white supremacist ideology to which people attach themselves and call themselves white.
That is true
Yeah,
too, Sidney. I can agree with you.
You're talking to like literally an OG original Hollywood mutt. I am half Sicilian, 1/4 English and 1/4 German, and have direct, you know what I mean, family ties that go straight back to
That
various
makes you
motherland.
That makes you a Jew.
Okay.
We talk about white supremacy, the system that we live under. America is built on white supremacy, right? We can all agree on that.
I can't agree
As-
on that because I don't live in America. I don't live in a white supremacist environment. In fact,
whole
quite the
world is-
opposite.
The whole world is a white supremacy society.
Have you ever
I mean,
left
how can you
America?
want-
Have you ever been outside of America? Harlem?
Harlem,
That's the point. See,
Sidney can't speak from an American point of view. And
what I'm
No.
saying-
I
no,
can-
no,
I
I
can
mean, but it's all over the world. I think what Sidney what Sidney is doing right now, he's being very disingenuous right now because
Okay,
the whole
I don't see
world
that.
is under white supremacy, and the fact that he doesn't see that, he's being disingenuous.
No, he's being very Canadian.
He's being disingenuous.
Canadians,
White
because
supremacy.
Canadians
There's
are
white.
really far removed from that shit. I'm telling you, I've lived there. I can tell you that there is an entire racial tension that is present even in the most liberal parts of this country. It's there. I have absolutely 100%
The liberals
experienced it,
are
all of it.
the so-called liberals are the worst white supremacists.
I don't have that
Hear me
racial.
out.
I don't have
Hear
racial
me
tension
out.
in my
I'd rather deal
environment.
with the right-wing white supremacists than the left-wing white supremacists.
Oh, I would disagree with you there, sir, because the white supremacist is there to use you.
No, I said I'd rather
You
deal with
would
the
have no
right
other
wing.
purpose to that man
Did you
than
hear?
to.
Did you hear what I just said? I said I'd rather deal with the right-wing white supremacists than the left-wing I agree with you. The left-wing white supremacists are far more sinister than the right-wing white supremacists.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to tell you, Mr. Harlem, that I grew up in this
There's a
weird
race of
liberal
people.
bubble of Southern California, Los Angeles. My family was in the
I totally
entertainment
agree.
industry, and that is
Yeah, I totally.
hyper liberal, right?
I know. Yeah,
And
hyper liberal and
trust me,
hyper racist on a
You should
different
let
level.
you should let other people finish talking. Harlem, we gave you a shot. We let you finish your shtick.
so I'm just saying that I acknowledge the fact that there is a lot of tension when you throw a lot of people of different races together, and maybe there's not overt racism if you did that same experiment in the Deep South, but it's still there. I'm acknowledging that. However, it's really, really hard for me to see this evidence of a whole lot of hardcore racism on when the needle swings all the way left, because that's the one thing in crazy liberal Southern California that's simply not tolerated. If there is some sort of secret society of liberals that are that want to subjugate black people or want to see them gunned down and shot in the streets, I don't know of it. But I do want to give you a chance to give your point of view.
But the way I see it, right? I grew up in America. You're from America, right?
Born in California, Hollywood, entertainment biz, like I told you,
So we
as
grew
I
up in
said.
a country and a society where blacks have been redlined after slavery. We went through black Americans are the foundation of American culture and everything. We built this country, right? A lot of white immigrants came over here. Your families are products of that, as you said. They came to a country that was unique in the sense that it was built off of slave labor, free labor. That's
Mm-hmm.
what made America unique. That's why America is able to say, give us you're tired, you're cold, and you're hungry, right? That was a cry out to white immigrants throughout Europe. Soon as you took a,
Well,
soon as
the
you took a,
colonists butchered the Indian.
yeah, I
That's
mean, but the Indians are getting
the butchered,
reparations.
slaughtered, and then shoved them onto shitty reservation land. Literally picked the worst fucking real estate they could find and shunted those people off over a 200-year period.
A lot of
We all
black
know,
people.
okay, as somebody who I was talking about this earlier today, sir, that when I was reading American history, I was very, very interested in the maybe some of the more not so nice parts of our history. I've always been really interested in slavery, the slave trade, the ins and outs of that, and what our world was like when we were doing that. Who were we as a society? I was interested in that at the age of 12, 13, 14. You know what? Given
You're
2
not
fucking
that much
paragraphs
different. You're
in
not that
my
much different
ass history
today.
book, okay? And I had to seek out this information, right? That part of our history on our own, because it's not voluntarily taught in grades 1 through 12. If you go over to Germany, since 1949, part of their reparations is that they teach what they fucking did in World War II as part of their history. Okay? And I respect German people for that because they're accountable for their atrocities. America is not accountable for its atrocities, never has been, and
Who
it's
does
a huge topic, right? As to whether I could roll back time or I could all of a sudden poof myself into a grade school classroom as a student and say, I want to know more about Harriet Tubman than 3 sentences. This woman deserves more than 3 sentences. She was an extraordinary fucking person. But I had to go and read books. I had to find out about her on my own. I had to do that on my own time. Okay? So
Foundational Black Americans.
I acknowledge all of the colors of people that have built this place. And Black Americans have a huge part, right?
Let's not do that.
So that's all I'm saying, man, is that I sought this information out on my own. Our history is incomplete. It's revisionist. And, the books are worth to read. You can find out about this on your own or not. But I think that that's part of what's wrong with this country, is that we have never made reparations to anybody. We just keep going on and going on.
Well, you made reparations to the Indians.
Huh?
You made reparations to the natives, to the Native American Indians. You made reparations to
After taking their populations down to 5% of what they were, and then again giving them the shittiest real estate in the country.
Most Indians that are part of the 5 civilized Indian culture that are recognized as natives, they live tax free. They have free lands. They have casinos. They got a lot of things going on. You've made reparations. You attempted to repair their culture. But when it comes to foundational Black Americans, you have made no reparations toward them. And that's the problem.
I agree. And Germans did. Germans gave back Jewish,
And what I'm saying is
they gave them back their homes.
Let me say this real quick. And I agree with you with the whole German thing. The Germans they are a model of paying out reparations. When it comes to foundational Black Americans, no reparations have been set out for them. In fact, what society does today, what the government does today, is they'll give things to other groups of people in the name of minorities instead of straight up just taking care of foundational Black Americans, which is like 13% of the population and has also been the backbone of the Democratic Party for the past 50 or so years.
Depends on how you talk to Harlem. Some conservatives believe that, Democrats are Dixiecrats and that they've never evolved beyond that stage.
That's
so
that's what I'm trying to get my people to understand. That's what I'm trying to get my people to understand. I mean, we know that Black people started, foundational Black Americans started under the Republican Party. But I'm just going a little deeper than that. I'm just showing how left-wing racists are far worse than right-wing racists. right-wing racists, they say things out of a sense of truth. Left-wing racists, they're going to push Planned Parenthood on the so-called foundational Black American community. They're going to push lesbianism and homosexuality on the FBA, the foundational Black American community. You won't see the right wing doing that. You know, so I think the left wing racism is far more sinister than the right wing, because I could deal with a bunch of white people that just want to say, hey, you know, white power. I want my people to come up as a white man, opposed to the left wing racism that's like, I'm going to systematically destroy you from the inside out. You know, I probably shouldn't be telling you this because I might end up turning you left wing. Like, I don't. But the left wing racism is far worse.
You're not turning me anywhere, sir. You're not talking to some impressionable, soft-headed woman that's been married to one domineering man after another her whole life. But I am not.
Are you
I am
married at all?
not a lesbian person or an
You're a
LGBTQ
lesbian.
person. I am not. I just made a declarative statement, sir, that I am not part of the group that you're describing right now in any way, shape, or form. Okay.
That's good.
Because
So what are you? So what are you? Are you a heterosexual woman?
I was a heterosexual woman. I now don't identify with any sexual feelings towards anyone at all, period. So I'm out of
crazy. What brought you to that point?
What brought me to asexuality?
When you don't even identify with
exactly, I know exactly what brought me there. Whether I want to discuss that on a live fucking YouTube stream is another thing entirely. It's not a subject that I'm opposed to discussing, but it's a pretty sensitive subject. You know, I might as well ask you, well, what makes you straight? Can you describe the defining moment when you knew absolutely 100% you were straight? You know, I don't know. I mean, that's probably a poor example, sir, but I'm just throwing it out there because I don't have anything else to compare it to.
I mean, being straight is pretty much being normal. You know, I was a handsome guy. A lot of women like me. You know, I started making money. So
I'm saying that there isn't a straightforward explanation for any of this. Probably one of my closest friends is a married gay woman. She was straight for the first 42 years of her life, and it was just poof. It just happened with her. And there's this whole late in life lesbian. Do you know what I mean? That you know this can just happen, and again, nobody has an explanation for that. But on the same token, I went to school with kids where we didn't talk about this, right? But we just knew.
What people did is what they did. We didn't talk about it.
We knew, and they knew. And they knew probably from second grade or something. This is before you even have sexual feelings. You just know that, you know what I mean, that person is different. Now, again, I'm not describing this from personal experience because I was completely heteronormative or whatever, but I just didn't follow any traditional female roles to their end, right? Which is, you know what I mean, you get married, you have children, and so forth. It's just the way it happened. But you know, I can tell you that I think that having children is a very consequential act, and that
do you have
if
do
you
you have children?
kids,
Do you have children?
absolutely, I have no kids, and I
Do you
was
do
very
you?
careful
I
not
asked you a
to have
question. Do you
children.
have children?
I
Do you
tried to
have
answer you,
children?
sir, but you're over talking me. I said I do not have children, and I was very careful not to have children because I did not believe that I would be a fit mother. And I
feel you on
also believe that in order to give your kid the best possible shot, it needs to be a two-party system. Okay, now whether I'm in agreement with you that
I
it has
agree.
to
I
be
agree. No, I
a
agree with you
heterosexual
100%.
relationship, I do think that there has to be kind of a male gender role and a female gender role. Because I have seen, right, kids that were raised by single parents and
don't
they
work
didn't
out.
turn out quite right? And I'm not going to
I'm
get
with
in
you. I'm with
because
you.
I don't
I'm
want to
with you
condemn
100%.
people
You
that
need
are
both.
okay.
You need both. You need both energies. You need the male energy and the female energy for that chick.
Have one that's an alcoholic. You don't have one that's a narcissist and never there. You know, there is to me an ideal kind of healthy nuclear family, right? Where you got the best shot. Doesn't guarantee anything, right? But that's your best shot.
That's your best
And
shot.
anything outside of that, right? Like my selfish aunt, who basically literally slept with a man on a,
Hold on.
you know what I mean, 2 weeks
Before you go
to
into
get
your art.
pregnant and
Hold
just
on.
to have
Relax.
a kid,
God
right?
damn, bitch. Relax. Before you go into your art, right? I just want to say this to you. I think you're an amazing human being.
Well, I appreciate that. I
I
sure
agree
as
with
shit ain't
I
perfect.
agree
I've
with
tried
Harlem
not
on that
to.
one.
I tried not to compound suffering, right? And part of compounding suffering is to bring a child into the world for selfish reasons,
I
or if
think
you cannot
you're.
afford it, or take care of it.
I
All
think
right.
you're amazing. I think as a human, not even talking about different races or as a Nazi Jews and foundational black. As a human being, I think you're amazing. I think you're somebody that would just do the right thing regardless of what. I could
Yes,
just see you doing the right
because
thing.
the guiding principle is humanism, sir. I'm trying to look at the world and say, in general, just in general, I like people. I want people to be free of misery, suffering, disease, war, just in general. I don't care what color you are. That really doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is I think the
I'm a
world,
fan.
the entire world could benefit by just everybody sort of uplifting everybody. But
Right.
I
It's
don't
just
know what your religious beliefs are, but my whole
well,
thing is
I'm a foundational Black American, and I believe that we're owed reparations and things like that. So that's my thing.
What's a
As a
I don't know
foundational
what
Black
foundational
American?
Black
I
American,
don't as taking this stance, right? I don't know if this comes with a built-in religion or not. A lot of political agendas in this country do come with a
about my,
built-in religion.
I'm just talking about my personal viewpoint
Yeah.
on things.
Well, for me as an atheist, right? I believe that religion is inherently divisive. It's just one more thing for me to
Listen,
put on my fellow man and
what,
say, you're
what,
hatred
did you
or
know
you're
that
left, you know?
did you know that the root word for religion is religio, which means to divide different people? Did you know that?
Is that from Latin? Religio is from Latin. It sounds like
Definitely Latin. Latin
okay.
consists of a bunch of different languages. French is Latin in its origin.
Yes.
Italian is Latin in its origin. Latin compasses a bunch of things. But the word religio means
I
to divide,
yeah.
and it
Oh,
also means religion. So when you dealing, like, for instance, if you read Bible, Torah, right, Tanakh,
yeah.
that's not dealing with religion. Religion is something that encompasses everybody. That's something that's saying everybody can be a part of this. The Bible doesn't do that. When you actually read the Bible is set up for one specific group of people known as the Israelites,
The Old Testament.
the Old and the New.
I've read the whole thing like 3 times, and I've studied it as a from a literal perspective, like Bible is literature. Um,
You
but
can't really say you can't really
I've also
like
studied a lot of other religions, right?
when you take the Bible on in its purest form, you can't say that it's a religion. It's something that is being spoken to a specific group of people, the Israelites, the 12 tribes of Israel.
Yeah,
That's
well,
who
but
that
here's
book
the
is
thing.
for.
I don't think it's a very good book. I think it's a book that's been cobbled together from other myths, other from other religions. I think that religions sort of die or breed together and then get smashed together with something else, and it happens over
I'll
time.
give you an example. I'll give you a quick example of what a religion is. Religion is like the Quran. Religion is Islam, where anyone can join. The Bible is very specific in what it's saying. The Bible is saying God has a specific group of people that are his chosen people. And those are the only people that he's dealing with. Religion is
And you
saying that
believe that,
God,
but
hold
you
on,
don't really sure
relax.
the whole thing
Religion
was
is
spread
saying, religion,
so
when you go
why
into religion,
wish
mhm, when you go into religion, religion is saying that God is dealing with everybody. I don't think the Bible falls into that category.
it absolutely does.
Why do you even
God
mention the
declares
Bible?
himself as a
Bible's not
jealous
a
God.
divine
He
thing.
will not he will not permit his people to be veneered by any other gods, and very, very specific. He's not Bible doesn't say anything well, I don't know. It's just it's a mess. It contradicts itself, it winds around, it snake that bites its own tail. Like I said, they were trying to use a lot of core myths and core beliefs from all these different tribes in order to unite everybody, right? But it didn't really work because there's canon and there's apocrypha and there's gazillion different sects of Christianity because they're all reading this book and nobody can agree on what it means. And honestly, sir, probably the most offensive part of the Bible was the slaves' Bible, was the Bible that they put together to enslave and press down black slaves. That to me, you know, was just the worst of the worst. Sidney and I have talked about this, where it's like I'd like to get a copy of the Slaves Bible and go over this thing and show how when
The
you
slave
take it
Bible.
out of context, stick it all together in this short, simple version, and then you give it to people, right, who are forbidden to learn, written language in English, and it's fed out. It was used as an incredibly potent, you know,
Weapon.
piece of manipulation. It was a very evil thing in that. Does that does that does that does it Does that sound legit? Like, this is what I've read, you know.
What you're saying is absolutely correct. But listen,
So,
I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna leave the call because I gotta get up in the morning and it's getting late. So I'm gonna get up out of here.
well,
But it
Alright,
was
listen,
good talking to y'all.
it
thanks for
was really, really fun talking to you. And, you know, it's been a while. I've never spoken to somebody political point of view, and I've enjoyed listening to what you believe and what you have to say.
All right, we'll talk then. Let me get up out of here.
All
all right.
right.
All right,
Love you.
Harlem. Nice to see
Have
you
a good
again.
night.
All right, Sidney, I love you. Y'all be good. Let me get up out of here. How the fuck I get out of here? I'm gonna get out of here.
All
Chill
right.
out. Chill out.
Close out the app.
Where's the exit? How the hell do I leave this room? He's gonna figure it out one of these days. I'm pretty sure about that. Oh, maybe not so much. Come on, Harlem, you can do it. Okay, well, maybe he wants to stay in the room. Fair enough. The suspense is killing me.
I gotta get out of here. I gotta go.
All right, man. Toodles. Yeah, he figured it out.
That was interesting.
So what do you think of that?
Oh, you know, I, you know, it's sad because he sounds like somebody who's very principled and very much believes, you know, in what he's in. But I just think that right wing conservatives use guys like this to their own end, and this poor gentleman would get nothing out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So Trump was able to press a lot of buttons to a lot of different people, you know, and you know, this was kind of his talent as a political shit stirrer. I cannot figure out why people of color would support him. Just can't. It was hard for me to listen to a person of color say that he agreed with those immigration policies when we all saw the kids in cages. That was pretty gross, you know, wrapped up in little
I never
plastic
saw that.
mylar blankets. You know, it was just fucked up. You know,
I never saw that.
I did.
But
Fucking
but
horrible.
whatever was happening then is still happening now, so there's no difference. Whatever happened,
Far as I know,
whatever happened under Trump happened under Obama, and is happening under Biden. So I don't see what the
the
difference
kids in
is.
cages thing was uniquely Trump.
No,
That did not happen
no,
under
no,
Obama.
no.
You're
The kids
literally
in
saying you
cages
never
thing
saw
came
the
from
kids
Obama.
in cages.
I'm pretty sure it came from Obama.
No.
Obama Lama.
No, Sidney, Obama never said we're going to discourage people from trying to come into this country by taking their children away from them. That was no.
What's the
sorry.
cages got to do with anything? The cages were there. Trump didn't put the cages there. Let's just say that. But it doesn't matter. That's your. It's not my politics. It's yours.
What I can say is that there is absolutely zero evidence that this policy was in place under anybody else's presidency.
We're not talking about the policy. We're talking about the cages. When were they put there?
Talking about children, I don't.
No. I'm talking about the cages that they were put in.
Don't be slippery. Don't be slippery.
I'm not being slippery. I'm saying who put
yes,
the cages?
Who built
Who built
the cages?
Yes.
Like,
who built the cages?
Who cares what the purpose of those cages were?
But who built? Doesn't matter. I'm not caring. I don't care what the purpose is either.
Okay.
But I want to know how the cages, or when the cages got there, and why, or not even why. When? That's all.
Sidney, I couldn't tell you that any more than I could tell you how the set of a Star Wars movie is constructed. The only people that would know are the people that were on the set of the movie. We only get to see photographs afterward. Okay.
I don't think how Hollywood can compare to government. It doesn't seem to be a fair comparison.
Well, I mean,
Government
it does.
cages and
Okay.
Hollywood. Come on, man.
You don't know how it was constructed. You have to go by people that were actually
Under
there
whose
who
presidency
participated
were
and
those
what they were
cages
for.
put there? Under
I
whose
can't answer
presidency?
the question. All I can tell you is that
And well, my
there
question
were over 1,000 children
how
from the
many?
age 6 to 14.
Under whose presidency were those cages constructed?
I have no idea.
Well,
I could not tell you that, and I don't think it's relevant.
I think it's extremely relevant because you're blaming Trump for a systemic problem that is not necessarily does not necessarily have anything to do with Trump.
It was enacted under him, Sidney. If you don't believe me, there's nothing that I can do to
No,
convince you otherwise.
I stay out of it. I'm going because it's your country, your politics. I'm going to give you the win.
I'm not asking for the win. All I'm telling you is that I've seen the images.
Yeah, well, I've seen the images of AOC crying like a little baby, and the memes that come from her. So I've seen images too. I've seen the opposing images or the opposing opinions and the opposing facts.
Nobody is arguing with you that the far left has done more damage to the overall ideals of humanism and liberalism than anything else. I absolutely despise them for this. I hate their fucking safe spaces. I hate their censorship. I hate the idea that entire college campuses stop right-wing speakers from speaking. I think that that is the essence of college, is going and listening to somebody that you absolutely do not agree with and processing what they say and think about why you or why you do believe that. That's kind of what it's for. It's not supposed to be an echo chamber. And what I saw was, as far as the academic, saw control over scientific and philosophical progress, psychological progress, sociological experiment completely halted, stopped, because of a bunch of absolute reactionary, curl clutching, far left, vegan ding dong. You know what I mean? I'm sorry, but I was being completely sincere when I said that some of my least favorite people are sitting on that far left, safe space, quote unquote snowflake world. I think that our society has just become this very, very weird place to live in where, I don't use racist language, as you know, but I have gotten raked over the coals back and forth for calling something retarded or saying that's retarded. And what do you hate Down syndrome people? It's like, that is a word. It's in the dictionary and it has a lot of other meaning that has nothing to do with,
It's becoming part of the cancel culture.
People with genetic disorders or severe brain dysfunctions, but this is what I think. Okay, I think that we went from being kind of on the correct needle as to where our tastes were as far as how much racism and yuck that we would allow sort of out into the open. And then we went into this weird PC phase where we flipped over to where absolutely everything was offensive. And as far as I'm concerned, the world got really stale and it was only because the needle swung all the way over into ridiculous, right? Ridiculous, crazy, far, far left stuff, that it was able to spring back over to the wrong side to me, which is people marching in Charlottesville and screaming, Jews will not replace. I just say that the needle wouldn't have been able to even go over to that side if the entire fucking world wasn't sick of living in this crazy, hyper-censored PC society. Does that make any sense?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure you made a point.
Well,
or detailed what's wrong with this world specifically. You said hypersensitive, was hypersensitized?
I'm saying that on our college campuses, where we used to have a range of different speakers from different perspectives speaking, all of a sudden, people from the right weren't allowed to speak. And they had, you know what I mean? They would
Okay, I know what you
arrange
mean.
these huge protests where they're surrounding the speaker's hall and they're not letting anybody in who wants to hear the speaker, no matter what their perspective.
I remember that.
And it was ridiculous, Sidney. It was gross. It made my fucking skin crawl to go, what the fuck is the youth of today doing? This is not at all what the point of higher education is. You're supposed to be getting your higher education, but you have access to all this extracurricular stuff where you can challenge your own thinking perceptions by going and listening to somebody who you don't agree with. It's something that people should do, you know, and you shouldn't be critical of anybody who goes to hear that speaker. It has to turn really ugly before you can say, oh my God, I'm in the middle of a white Nazi. But a lot of these conservatives were not preaching white hate or anything. They were bringing up controversial subjects. Sure, they do. They always do. The left-leaning people also. Does that mean that they shouldn't be allowed to speak? That there should be these big protests whipped up so nobody could? I mean, that's just dumb. But then in academia, too, they were starting to favor a lot of weird liberal sociological research that just didn't have any grounding in reality. And there was a group of PhD students up north, right, where they actually challenged this by writing some really ridiculous sociological papers and having them placed, published in these really, really far left journals, right? And academia is not really supposed to have an agenda, but you're fine that it will here, right? Where, really, really out there ideas, stuff that just didn't have any right to be fucking peer reviewed, right? But these guys saw this trend and were just like, have you read this academic journal or that one? Can you believe the shit that's being published? And they said, well, why don't we write some ridiculous shit of our own? You know what? After tweaking the system a little bit, they got like 8 papers published, and it was really ridiculous shit. And they did it not to get the papers published, but to see how crazy, you know what I mean, this branch of academia had become. And they made a mockery. But it needed to be done, Sidney, because, we don't need new age woo or crap clogging up our science, clogging up our sociology, clogging up our progress. You just don't, So I will say that there were people that are even left-leaning liberal that actually agreed with what these guys were doing. because you get to a point where enough is enough already. You know, I'll 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 send you some YouTube links on this stuff called the grievance studies. I think you'll find it really interesting. But like I said, I just don't think that rational belief should have a, you know what I mean? It shouldn't be left wing, it shouldn't be right wing, it shouldn't have a wing. It just is, right?
You're talking about politics. There's no rational thinking in politics.
I'm saying religion creeping its way into our state, politics creeping its way into our sciences, onto our academic campus. This should not be. It's
Yeah, but that's a United States problem. That's not a worldwide problem.
I didn't say it was a United States problem. You're asking me to.
It
You're
is a
asking me
United
to
States
speak
problem.
from my perspective. I can't speak from somebody who was, you know what I mean, spent the first formative years of their life and where you are and now live in Canada, right? Canada's really cool. Canada's a place that a lot of people would really, really like to live because it's, you know,
It's an atheist country, and that's why people would love to live here. Not that they have to be atheists, but that's because everything is tolerated as long as you live and let live, kind of thing. You know what I mean? That's the beauty of Canada. To be a Canadian is to be neighborly. That's pretty much it. You know, everything else. So United States
still
can
fucking
learn a lot
live
from
streaming,
Canada.
Sydney?
Excuse me?
10:35. So are you still live streaming? You must have like a 4-hour long.
Yeah, it's been going for about 3 hours or something quickly. Hold on, let me just check. Yeah, about 3 hours. Well, I was going to do a Darth Dawkins, but it's going to have to wait until tomorrow. Yeah.
Well, some don't always plan these things, you know. You have
No, it worked out well. I
various
liked it.
interesting people popping in, and
Yep.
you certainly had, you know, I love Randolph.
Randolph is such a cool guy. Yeah.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
And Xbox was doing his thing, and you did some tech stuff, and
yeah,
you know. And then our last gentleman was somebody who I didn't agree with very much, but you know, just goes to show that you can treat people with respect. And
that's right. You can have
you
a
know
conversation. You can have a conversation with most anyone.
Try and see things from that person's point of view, and if you can't, try and bring your most educated perspective, right?
Indeed.
So
it's a beautiful thing.
I'm not a Black American.
No.
But I definitely had Black friends. I have gone to school with, you know, Black people from all races, and when I say races, I should say origins. You know, not just
indeed,
you know, the standard. You know, but we had actual African Americans. You know, from Africa. You know.
Mm-hmm.
I've been around a lot of different kinds of people. Try and treat them all with respect. And I don't think any person is subhuman or
you know, it's not too much to ask, just to have common sense respect for everybody else, and that it be reciprocated.